Hello, everybody. It's JJ Conway. I want to welcome you to Juneteenth Legacy 2026, our 8th annual Juneteenth Legacy. That's right. We were a conference before Juneteenth was a holiday, but I'm so thankful to Ms. Opal Lee, who advocated, marched, and did the thing to get us a holiday. So today I have a very special guest with you, someone who has spoken into the lives of both my boys and helped them realize that they too can achieve financial success as well as family success. The man, the myth, the legend, Dr. George Fraser. Let me go ahead and roll his sizzle reel so you know exactly what kind of caliber of person you're about to get. All right, Dr. Fraser, welcome to Juneteenth Legacy. I'm so happy you're here. How are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful. So good to see you. So good to be in your presence. So good to be able to speak to your august audience on this Juneteenth Legacy Day. And can't wait to get started.
Yours, sir.
Okay. Um, Old keys will not open new doors. A house divided among itself cannot stand. Nobody is saving Black people but Black people. It's been 400 years and we're not saved. We are all drinking from wells that we did not dig. We are standing on the shoulders of giants. A 250-year fight for our freedom, a 350-year fight. From 1619 to 1864, that was 250 years for freedom. Then another 1864 to 1964, a 100-year fight for civil rights, voting rights, and public access. Therefore, the question, my brothers and sisters, on this Juneteenth, are we worthy of that legacy? And if you believe that we are worthy of that legacy, the next question is, what then will be the legacy of future generations? What will the legacy of generation X, Y, and Z and generation Alpha be? What will our children's children's children be saying about them 150 years from now? I hope that it's economics is the new Black power. I hope that will be the message, because we cannot allow our legacy to end with the civil rights struggle, okay? Um, I was standing on the corner of 125th Street and Lenox Avenue. Young man. I was 18 years old, born and raised in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York. And there was a young brother on the corner, literally on a soapbox, and he began to speak. And the crowd started gathering around him. It wasn't Malcolm X. It was Stokely Carmichael. And Stokely Carmichael said on that afternoon, on that day, something so powerful for me that it actually changed the entire trajectory and informed my entire life. Why? Because words are powerful. Here's what he said exactly on that day. You'll hear it as I heard it. He said that no black person in this country makes any advancement solely based on his or her talent or worth. That all individual advancement is based on mass struggle, that we make no progress in this world without shedding our blood. Therefore, your advancement and success does not belong to you. It belongs to the people. And if you do not use your success for the advancement and benefit of your people, it is a betrayal of the people who shed their blood for you. Let me repeat. A house divided cannot stand. We, as responsible black people, must change. But you will never change that which you tolerate. You will only change when you get angry. You will not change when you see the light. You will change when you feel the heat. And if we're not feeling heat right now in this new age of Trump, I don't know when we will change. This is the perfect environment to woman up and to man up and to do what God has put us here to do. Now, are there things out of our control? Yes, there are things out of our control. Other people's opinion of you is out of your control. Other people's beliefs and behaviors are out of our control. The future is out of our control, but not your future. Outcomes are out of our control. The past is out of our control. Aging is out of our control. The way people speak to you and speak to me, that's out of our control. Time is out of our control. What others say about me is out of our control. The way people treat me is out of our control. And external events are out of our control. Building wealth, operating efficiently, effectively in the system of capitalism is critical. When we stop pontificating ad nauseum about our issues and opportunities, somebody's got to write a check. A check has to be written. What is one of the most important assets for building wealth? Relationships. Relationships. In fact, the most powerful asset that you will have in the 21st century will not be your computer. It will not be AI. I'm sorry to inform you. It will be your relationships. One of the most important relationship decisions you will make in your life is your life partner, whether it be at home or whether it be in business, your life partner. Relationships. You don't build a business, you build people, and people build your business. You're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, brothers and sisters. This is biblical. This is not some opinion of Dr. Fraser. John 5:30, a direct quote from Jesus Christ. There are 800,000 words in the Bible. Only 1,200 of those words are direct quotes from Jesus Christ. John 5:30, and Jesus said, I of my own self can do nothing. Now, this was Jesus, and Jesus couldn't get it done on his own by himself in a vacuum. So what's up with you? Why would you think you could do anything significant, anything worth talking about on your own by yourself in a vacuum? You cannot. The fastest way to change yourself is to hang out with people who are already where you want to be. What am I really saying to you? Don't spend major time with minor people. People going nowhere want you to go nowhere with them. People doing nothing want you to do nothing with them. If you are not where you want to be in life, it's because you don't have the right people in your life. This is critical. Business is about relationships. Without relationships, you have no business. Without relationships, you have no business being in business. In fact, the business you're really in case no one has ever told you, you are in the business of building relationships. Relationships and friends are critically important because it's God's way of apologizing for your relatives. That's a little humor there. Networking is critical. What is networking? It is the first and most important principle of building relationships. That's what it is. Networking defined, as I've defined it 35 years ago in my book, Success Runs in Our Race, The Complete Guide to Effective Networking in the Black Community. Networking is the identification and the building of relationships for the purpose of sharing information, opportunities, and resources. The emphasis is on building relationships and sharing. All of life is about relationships with all kinds of people. In fact, there is no success that you can attain, sustain, or maintain on your own by yourself in a vacuum. Again, the most powerful asset that you will have in the 21st century will be relationships. All entrepreneurship, all job searches, all upward mobility are inherently networking initiatives. In fact, your ability to shape the scope of your search for human resources and bring them to bear on your challenges and opportunities in life is what will help you determine your level of excellence and success in life. It's critical. Be careful who your friends are, because as they go, so go you. Again, introduce me to your 5 closest friends, and that will tell me who you are. Effective networking is critical. In fact, most business decisions are made at an emotional level, and then they're justified by facts. I don't care what it is that you do. At least 10 people can do what you do. I do business because I like you, I know you, I respect you. Please don't ever forget that. What's the point? Be nice to people. Smile. Laugh. Hug them. Hug somebody every single day. Stop always looking for the bad in people, brothers and sisters. Look for the good. People will forget what you said and people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. You want to build wealth? You got to build relationship. Be careful of your words because they hurt people. Our mouths are the most violent weapon that we bring to the table of life. We hurt more people with our words than all of the weapons in the history of war. People leave people. They don't leave companies. And according to African philosophy, man has, by the force of his word, dominion over all things. And again, it was Jesus who said, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. Therefore, choose your words and your phrases carefully, understanding that our very utterances create and continually adjust the emotional climate around you. Words have power, and they can be dangerous or they can be empowering. I just wanted to give you this piece of advice today. One of the things that we're missing as we effectively network with each other is an asset that we ignore. That asset is valued at $24 trillion. It is right here in this time, in our face. What is that asset? It is the 3.9 million men and women who are Black, ages 60 to 90. Our elders, our elders. This is unique to Black folk in America only. It does not exist on the 54 countries on the continent of Africa. I've been to Africa 31 times. You do not do anything of significance as an African without conferring with the elders. The same thing when I went to Asia. You do not do anything in India without conferring with elders. The same thing in China, and they have a very special relationship with their elders. In fact, Asians generally live in a household of 3 generations: the parents, the children, and the grandchildren. And who raises the grandchildren? The elders raise the grandchildren. This is a huge asset that we are ignoring. So I am starting a movement called Wise Counsel Bridging Generations. And the objective is to focus on the opportunities that we have to work with and through not only all of us, but those who are our elders. The objectives are simple of this movement. Wise Counsel is the name of the movement. It is to help to reestablish a culture where elders are valued, respected, and recognized as sources of wisdom and life experience. It is to preserve generational knowledge. That's the second objective, encouraging intentional sharing of history, lessons, traditions, and cultural values between our older and younger generations. The third objective is to strengthen family and community bonds, to create environments where elders remain actively involved in family decisions, mentorship, and community leadership. The fourth objective is to promote intergenerational mentorship, developing opportunities for elders to guide and mentor youth in life skills, character development, and cultural identity. And finally, the objective of this movement, the Wise Counsel movement, is to rebuild cultural pride and identity, which reinforces the importance of heritage, resilience, and shared history by honoring those who have lived and preserved it. When we get that, when we act with unity and collaboration, inclusive of all of us who are still alive, there's no way to fail. Game over. You see, until Black America puts Black America first, Black America will always be last. To be Black and beautiful means nothing unless you're Black and powerful. And you cannot be Black and proud and niggers too. White folks are planning for 3 generations, and we're planning for Saturday night. The goal, brothers and sisters, is to win, not to look like we're winning. I would rather carry a plastic bag with $5,000 in it than to carry a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag with $100 in it. You're not winning. Louis Vuitton is winning. Armani is winning. Nike is winning. Gucci is winning. We are not winning. It's interesting to me that the rich stay rich while pretending to be poor, and the poor stay poor while pretending to be rich. If we do not fix this, and no one is going to fix this but us, we are headed into a second slavery if nothing changes. Why? Because money is the mother's milk of all great intentions and ideas. And without money, all you have is a good damn idea, but nothing will happen. We have to exploit the tax system. The American tax system is set up for the landowner and the business owner. Why did that happen, Dr. Fraser? Because landowners and business owners can write the tax laws. Get a good tax consultant. You will be amazed how much you will save in taxes. Now, there's 7 pillars for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. I talked about one: exploiting the American tax system in an honest but rigorous way. Number 2 is marriage. Marriage. Yes, absolutely. The state of marriage in our culture at this moment in time is not what it needs to be. When I was a young man, I'm 81 years old, born in 1945. The marriage rate in our culture was 80%. Today it is 23%. 23%. 71% of our women are not married, and 31% of them will never get married. 66% of black men are not married, and nearly 40% of them have declared they would never get married. This is wrong. Marriage, and the statistics all say, a partner, a marriage, over the life of that marriage, I've been married for 52 years to the same sister. Over the life of that marriage, with 2 working on our capital, 2 working on investment, 2 minds managing the resources that we bring into our household, right, has saved me nearly $3 million, rather than me living somewhere trying to do it on my own and Nora Jean living somewhere trying to do it on her own. So marriage, and I know this is easy to say, this is difficult to do. In fact, black men and women are at war with each other. There's lots of reasons for it. Feminism has contributed to it. And I'm talking about the modern woman, not the old school woman. The old school woman was raised to be a wife. Today, with the educational level of black women, in fact, black women are the most educated body of people in America, right? The mindset is independence and not interdependence. So think about it. Now, is the term marriage evolving? Yes, it's going to probably evolve into a different kind of relationship, but you will need a life partner. You will need a man and a woman working together in partnership. I don't care what you call it. If you really want to create intergenerational wealth, 2 is always better than 1. Let's work on that. That was number 2. Number 3 is the proper management of accumulated wealth. Financial education, financial literacy. When I was growing up in the 40s and 50s and 60s, you dare not ask your parents about money. We did not learn about money as Jews learn about money around the kitchen table, around the dining room table. That's what they talk about. I live in Cleveland, Ohio. I think it's the 5th or 6th largest Jewish population in the world. I have a lot of Jewish friends, and I've been invited to their dinners. I've been invited to this, and I go, what are they talking about? They are talking about money and the proper management of money, and buying and selling businesses and employing their own. Managing our wealth has to be learned, and it has to be enculturated. It has to be modeled. We must model the behavior that we want in our people. We have to model it. And what you're not changing, you're choosing. We must change and evolve and become the smartest on the planet when it comes to managing and building wealth in our culture. We're a $1.4 trillion annual economy, but yet we own the smallest number of businesses per capita of any cultural group in this country. What is the goal? To start and to build businesses. I don't care if you call them side hustle. It starts out as a side hustle until your side hustle can replace your job, and now you have a business. And the goal is to become the #1 employer of our own people. That's a huge part of money management, building intergenerational wealth. I'm in the process of succession planning for Fraser. I've owned this business for 50 years. I'm 81 years old. I built a hell of a foundation, a powerful network, and tools from which to leverage this network. No, if I die without proper succession planning, this will die with me, and that means that somebody else will have to start all over again. I'm not going to allow that to happen. I'm working on a succession plan so that all that you have gotten from me, whether it's the Power Networking Conference or WINS Wealth Building Centers and Curriculum, or all of the assets that I've built over my 50 years in business, that it does not die when I die, that it will be built, these assets will be built on the foundation in which I established and then made better by a stronger foundation. And that's got to be a goal when it comes to managing our wealth. That's the proper management of accumulated wealth. That's the third pillar for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. What is the fourth pillar? Real estate. Real estate. Real estate. They're not making any more. Every millionaire and billionaire in America has real estate as one of their main assets of their wealth. What is the first thing God gave Adam? Real estate. First thing God gave Isaac? Real estate. It is how I earned my first $1 million at 31 years old. I moved into a neighborhood in a nice suburb in Cleveland, Ohio after I got married at 28 years old. I happened to be living next to a Jewish couple that owned property. And he would invite me to come visit with him. He would talk to me about it. He had 4 homes in the inner city, but they were very, very, very nice. 4 homes. There were 2 families each home. So they had what they call 6 doors. And he bought it for pennies on a dollar. And what did I do? I did the same thing. So in my 30s, I ended up with 8 2-family and 3-family homes. I went into a neighborhood that was changing from Slavic or white Slavic neighborhood called the Buckeye area in Cleveland. If you know anything about Cleveland, you know the Buckeye area. It was changing to a black neighborhood, but a middle-class black neighborhood. They did not want to be around black people. So they were selling their homes at pennies on a dollar. I bought them. I bought all my homes on the same block. And I kept those homes for about 12 years. I benefited from the rent and all of the write-offs from owning real estate in America. I paid no taxes probably for about 10 years. This is what I was telling you about understanding the tax system in America. Real estate. That should be a part of your portfolio. Business ownership is the fourth or fifth one. Business ownership. Start a business. Start it in your kitchen. Doesn't matter. As I said, you can call it a side hustle if you want. Eventually, come up with an idea. With AI today, there's no excuse. They will write an entire business plan. All you have to do is put the idea in there. They'll write an entire business plan, help you name it, give you hooks to use to develop a marketing campaign. I hope you're using AI. I really hope that you're using AI, because I'm less afraid of artificial intelligence than I am of natural stupidity. Use AI. So, business ownership, huge. Now we're moving in the right direction. There are 3.7 million black small businesses in America. That is the largest number of black businesses in the history of black people in America. So we're changing our mindset. What was the mindset when I was growing up as a kid? What was my parents teaching us? Get a good education and get a good job. That's what they wanted for us. When I got my first corporate job at Procter & Gamble, there was a bigger celebration for me getting that job in corporate America than it was for my birthday. Well, we're going to change that. It's now going to be get a good education and create a job. Create a job for yourself, create a job for our people. That has got to be the 21st century goal. Creating work and jobs for our people and self-employment. Nothing wrong with getting your job. I wouldn't trade my 20 years of working in corporate America, 13 years of Procter and Gamble, years with 3 years as a director at United Way, and 2 years in development for a automobile franchise with the Ford Motor Company. I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything, but I wanted to do my own thing. So I did not take the dealership. I was to be, again, the first black Ford Lincoln Mercury dealer in Cleveland. Would have made me a millionaire, but I had a different idea. I wanted to do my own thing, but I learned a lot about self ownership in that training program with Ford Motor Company. So business ownership. Put that on your list of things that you must do and you must teach your children to do. And you teach them by owning a business, them working in your business and talking about business, just like you talk about money around the kitchen table. Okay. Now, I'm down to the last two. Multiple streams of income is one of the pillars for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. Multiple streams of income. There should not be a black person in America with a single stream of income, with all of the opportunities out here and all of the consumption that is going on in America. Of course, we are the consumption class, black people, and white people are the merchant class. Stop it. Let's flip the script. Let's become the merchant class, not just the consumption class. Okay, multiple streams of income. There's opportunities everywhere. We are not lacking opportunity. I am sorry. I don't care what color you are. As black folk in America, we are not lacking opportunity. We are the most creative people on the freaking planet. What we're lacking is capacity. And that's our capacity to take advantage of the unlimited opportunities in this great country that we live in. And no, I would not want to live in any other country other than America. I've traveled all over the world at 10.5 million frequent flyer miles. The opportunity is the greatest, certainly for business development in the United States of America. And the final pillar for the intergenerational transfer of wealth is to think and to act as a nation. We must continue to work on unity and collaboration, because the future of our businesses will be what? Strategic alliances, joint ventures, and partnerships. And this is what JJ talks about, and this is what she lives for, and this is why I'm a part of everything that she wants me to do with her. She has the right mindset. Now, I'll close with a couple of things. This will not be easy. If it was easy, why would God need you? My favorite quote outside of the Bible is a quote by Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was one of the 5 great Caesars, and he said what I'm about to quote to you in 800 BC, 800 BC, before Christ. He said that the impediment to action advances the action. What stands in your way becomes the way. In other words, the obstacle is the way. Where there's no obstacle, there is no way. What is the first thing God does when he gives you an assignment? He puts an obstacle in your way. And your job is to find a way over, around, through, and under it, right? Make the mistakes, learn the lessons, and apply those lessons and knowledge and wisdom to your next opportunity. Obstacles do not block the path, my brothers and sisters. Obstacles are the path. But the difference between school and life, school teaches you the lessons and then gives you a test. Life gives you the test, and then teaches you the lessons. And that's the way you want it, because every problem has a purpose. It's not really a problem. It's not really an obstacle. It's a lesson. It means it is something that you have to learn. So you learn it. And there's some things you can only learn in a storm. So it's going to be okay. I eat obstacles for breakfast. I love for people to tell me you can't do something. Oh boy, that does not depress me. That inspires me, as it inspires JJ. I close with this thought. I want you to understand this. And I want to say it and still be loved. Bad chapters in life can create great stories. Wrong paths in life can still lead to the right places. Failed dreams can still create successful people. And sometimes it takes losing yourself to find yourself. I have failed my way to success, but I never gave up. I had the resilience necessary, the ability to come back, because the time that God has given me was precious time. Which means, if you think about it, we're all fortunate to be able to die, because it means that you overcame millions to 1, trillion to 1 odds, millions of sperm cells in your mom's body. One is strong enough eventually to fertilize her egg, and you were born. Now, let me put that in context. The human species is 300,000 years old. If you're 50 years old watching this, it means it took 299,950 years for you to be born. And you're totally unique. There will never, ever, 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 ever be in the history of the human species another person exactly like you. You are unique. And when you're born, God gives you time, but you don't know how much time you have. And I will tell anybody in the New York Minute, do anything, but don't waste my time. I will get more money, but I will not get any more time. And I don't know how much time I have, and I don't want to know. In fact, time is the only currency you spend without knowing the balance. And Buddha said it beautifully, and I close with this. You are not killing time. Time is killing you. Use it wisely, and you will be blessed. That's my story. I'm Dr. George Fraser, and I'm sticking to it.
That's a blessing, sir. I'd love, I'm sitting, I had the camera off so we could focus on you, but I'm sitting back there like, yeah, yeah, that's right. I appreciate you so much for being a part of this conference and also pouring into my life. And before we let you go, could you let us know a little bit how to get involved with this WISE initiative that you've created? It
Mhm.
sounds exactly like what our generation needs, and I want to make sure our audience participates.
Oh, thank you. It's very simply go to my website, uh, Dr. George C. Fraser, Dr. George my middle initial, Fraser.com. Dr. George C. Fraser. And you can email me. You can email me at gfraser@frasernet.com, gfraser@frasernet.com. Let me know that you're interested in this movement, this Wise Counsel movement. In fact, I wanted to show you the most important thing is that it will happen, and we will focus on more effectively. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is right here. In fact, time is the only currency you spend without knowing the balance. And Buddha said it beautifully, and I close with this. You are not killing time. Time is killing you. Use it wisely, and you will be blessed. That's my story. I'm Dr. George Fraser, and I'm sticking to it.
That's a blessing, sir. I love I'd love I'm sitting I had the camera off so we could focus on you, but I'm sitting back here like, yeah, yeah, that's right. I appreciate you so much for being a part of this conference and also pouring into my life. And before we let you go, could you let us know a little bit how to get involved with this WISE initiative that you've created? It
Mhm.
sounds exactly like what our generation needs, and I want to make sure our audience participates.
Oh, thank you. It's very simply go to my website, uh, Dr. George C. Fraser, Dr. George my middle initial, Fraser.com. Dr. George C. Fraser. And you can email me. You can email me at gfraser@frasernet.com, gfraser@frasernet.com. Let me know that you're interested in this movement, this Wise Counsel movement. In fact, I wanted to show you. I don't think I thought I had it handy, but I don't have it handy. I wanted to show you the logo for it, but I did not prepare. I did not bring it with me, so I apologize for that. But the most important thing is that it will happen, and we will focus on more effectively. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Is it straight? Can you read it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And you'll notice that it's an oak tree rooted in a book. You'll notice on the left-hand side of the oak tree, under the oak tree, is a small oak tree attached to the roots, right?
Hmm.
Wise Counsel in the middle of the logo, you'll see an owl. What is an owl known for? It's known for the wise old owl. It's known for wisdom. So we're going to leverage more effectively our elders from 60 to 90 and all the knowledge, over 2 trillion hours of information and knowledge that they have accumulated in their lifetime. We're talking about living elders. Okay, that doesn't even count those who have passed on and have passed on incredible information and opportunity for us. So that's the wise counsel word. Thank you for asking that question.
I am so deeply excited that you are putting together this initiative because we were just talking the other day about how we used to have people pouring into our lives. And we're so disconnected today. We don't have that without intentionality. And
Right.
in the hallways, we were like, we want to be that for the next generation, but I want people to still pour into me. I got a lot of fight left and a lot of life left to live. And so do you.
That's right.
Thank you,
Well,
sir.
one quick thing. Thank you. That's beautiful. I couldn't have said it better myself, JJ. I am writing a new book called Mission Unstoppable: Extraordinary Stories of Failures, Blessings. Okay. It's the second edition. Les Brown and I did this together the first time around. We're doing it together the second time around. And there are 20, it's 30 people who will be involved in it. It's an analog of 30 stories of extraordinary stories of failures, blessings, right? Because that's where we learn. You heard me say that. We learn from our failures. They're not really failures, they're really blessings. The question is, did you learn from it? That's the most, and did you use what you learned? If we have 2 slots left, 28 are already gone. If you're interested in being a part of that book, yes, it is fee based. We can talk about all that later. If you're interested, just email me at gfraser@frasernet.com and I will get back to you personally and give you all the details on it. So that's my next book coming sooner rather than later. I'm actually working on 6 books simultaneously, but with AI, JJ, you can do that.
Yes,
You can
sir.
do that.
Yes, sir.
What
Yes, sir.
Right. So whatever's in that beautiful head that you have, put it on paper and leave it for succeeding generations. Wouldn't it be wonderful 100 years from now, you're part of a book or you wrote a book and your great grandchildren can go to the library in their home or the library period and pick up a book that their great grandparents wrote or contributed
Absolutely.
or had
I think I
ideas.
need to be in that book. I mean,
Right.
I've got some that I've written and I've got maybe 60 or so ideas. And I think to myself, I'm running out of time. I need to write these books. I'm running out of time. Well, with AI, it's possible. Thank you for the reminder. So I guess we're going to go
Absolutely.
ahead and close out now. Thanks again, sir. We really appreciate you and we'll see you next year for Juneteenth Legacy.
God bless you. Can't wait for next year. This year's will be over sooner than we think. Thank you for this
Yes,
great
sir.
idea. Thank you. Hi, this is Dr. George Fraser here to remind us that true success isn't just about what you build. It's about the shoulders you stand on to reach higher. Join us on Friday, June 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're hosting the Why Wise Council pay-per-view event. This is a moment to honor the heritage of those who paved the way and learn directly from the wisdom of elders. In our community, wisdom is the ultimate currency. We're bridging the gap between generations to turn our ancient principles into modern prosperity and a legacy that outlives us all. Don't just build a business, build a dynasty. Get your ticket. Join us on Friday, June 26th at 8 p.m. Standard Time and claim the counsel that you deserve.
Happy Juneteenth 2024. I have the honor and the privilege of being one of your speakers at this year's most auspicious event. And I want to thank you for your time and your attention as I address to you the message of excellence is in our ethnicity. There are 4 dynamics I want to share with you about why we need to remember the importance of Juneteenth, and those 4 entities encapsulate all members of my family, and that's planning, perseverance, preparation, and pride. When we remember Juneteenth, whether you call it Emancipation Day or Black Independence Day or Juneteenth, we recognize that this was the official ending of slavery in the United States of America. But we have to also remember that there were atrocities that occurred that even led up to Juneteenth happening, and we have to recognize that this day is not just recognition of the emancipation of slavery and the ending officially of the injustice upon Black people in this country. We have to also remember this is a platform that we can use to persevere and go forward to look at how excellence is part of our ethnicity. First thing I want to share with you is this. Planning. This is my grandfather, Johnny Bay Johnson. This was one of the first Black men in Chattanooga, Tennessee, my hometown, to pay cash money for his home in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Is this the coolest looking brother you ever seen in your life? Is this brother smooth or what? That's my grandfather, Johnny Bay Johnson. My grandfather had 7 daughters, no boys. So there was my mother and my 6 aunts. So between his 7 daughters, himself, and his wife, my grandmother, there were 9 people in the house with 1 bathroom. He would make sure that everybody had a schedule starting around 4:30 in the morning so that everybody had about their own 30, 25 minutes to do whatever you need to do in the bathroom. And when your time is up, time to move on. This man planned efficiently for his entire family. Now, what I find magnificent is that of his 7 daughters, 5 won best dressed, because he kept having them share the same clothes so that they could always look best dressed. So when you think about Juneteenth and the excellence, know that planning is part of our excellence of our ethnicity. Second person I want you to look at is my grandmother, Jessie Phipps. Granny is how I so affectionately refer to her. This is Granny when she was in her 20ish. This is Granny when she was in her 90ish. As you can see, she is equally beautiful in both pictures. When we talk about perseverance, my grandmother, Jessie Phipps, was one of the first Black women in the state of Tennessee to own her own hair salon and be a licensed cosmetologist. What is fascinating is that if you think of just how excellence is in our ethnicity, the world's first Black female millionaire was Madam C.J. Walker, who made products and different inventions for the hair of Black women or women of ethnicity. My grandmother was trained by Madam C.J. Walker, and that is one of the ways that it shows perseverance, because my grandmother was told by Madam C.J. Walker that if she focused, color would not be an issue because greatness has no complexion. So I want you all to know about those two people. Third person which you know about is my father when it comes to preparation. My father was the first black person ever to receive a ticket to go inside of the Tivoli Theater. Now, the Tivoli Theater was also called the Jewel of the South in the 1950s, and it was one of the first performance halls to have air conditioning. Black people were not allowed to go in. We could clean, we could work on the toilets, but we couldn't go inside. And my father, in his wisdom, at the age of 15, came with a plan that led to him being the first black person to receive a ticket. Now, at the time, he was only 15 years old. In this picture was the day history was made as he purchased a ticket to go inside of the Tivoli Theater. Now, the plan organized by my father at only the age of 15 was to make sure that if the Tivoli saw how many people of color wanted to buy a ticket, they would realize that they're losing money. So my dad had all the people from his high school and all the people from the local football and basketball and track and band and glee club and math club all show up. Now my dad said, have some money, because if you don't have money, then legally we're loitering. So make sure that when we go to the front, ask for a ticket. If they tell you no, don't fight, don't argue, just step out of line, go back in line, and come back again. And just through the preparation of doing this organization, start here, have your money, be in place, be at this time. If they say no, step out of line. This was the process. The owner of the Tivoli had realized, or the head manager had realized, that a lot of the white patrons were getting frustrated. So the ticket manager had pulled one of the popcorn boys and said, I need you to get all the white people in, and I want you to make sure that you keep the black folks out. So the popcorn boy got distracted and was just taking dollars, tearing tickets, taking dollars, tearing tickets. So my father steps up and hands the dollar, expecting to be turned down. The popcorn boy took my dad's dollar, told my dad a ticket, and gave my dad a ticket accidentally. Everybody went crazy. And even though my dad got inside of the Tivoli, he never made it to the actual performance hall because they recognized this is not a regular white person. They kicked him out, but when he came out, he still had that ticket. The last person I want to share with you is my queen, my mother, and this is the element of pride. My mother was the first person in high school to lead a sit-in of segregation. Now, in the 1960s, there were a lot of colleges, Spelman, Morehouse, Tuskegee, and some others that led sit-ins to end segregation, but those were all college students. My mother was one of the first high school students at Howard High School in Chattanooga, Tennessee. That was the first high school-led sit-in that led to the desegregation of restaurants and stores and establishments in my hometown of downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee. So you see, whether we're talking about planning, perseverance, preparation, or pride, recognize that Juneteenth set the platform so that we can always remember that excellence has always been part of our ethnicity. Happy Juneteenth to you all, and make sure that whatever you do with love, passion, and pride. Happy Juneteenth.
Hello, my name is Celeste Warren, founder, Celeste Warren Consulting, LLC. I want to start with a question. How many of us have ever walked into a room and immediately assessed whether we belong there? Not whether we were qualified, not whether we were capable, but whether we belonged. For many Black professionals, that question isn't just about the workplace. It's connected to a much longer story. Today, I want to talk about something that isn't often discussed in corporate spaces: post-traumatic slave syndrome, or PTSS, and how it affects can continue to influence workplace experiences, leadership behaviors, and professional advancement. This is not a conversation about blame. It's a conversation about awareness, and ultimately, it's a conversation about thriving. Dr. Joy DeGruy introduced the concept of post-traumatic slave syndrome to describe the multi-generational trauma experienced by descendants of enslaved Africans and how that trauma can be transmitted through generations through behaviors, beliefs, and coping mechanisms. Trauma doesn't always disappear when a historical event ends. Sometimes it evolves, sometimes it adapts, and sometimes it shows up in places we least expect, including the workplace. Many of us have been taught to think of trauma as an individual experience, but trauma can also be collective. It can be inherited through stories, silence, family expectations, and survival strategies passed on from one generation to the next. And those survival strategies often show up at work. Let me give you a few examples. Have you ever felt pressure to be twice as good to get half as far? Many Black professionals were taught that excellence wasn't optional. It was necessary for survival. What begins as a strength can sometimes become perfectionism, a fear of making mistakes, an unwillingness to take risk, an exhausting belief that every action reflects on an entire community. Another example is hypervigilance, always watching, always assessing, always wondering how others perceive you, always calculating whether it's safe to speak up or safe to disagree, safe to be authentic. And then there's code switching, the conscious or unconscious practice of changing how we speak, act, dress, or communicate to fit into dominant workplace norms. Many people view code switching as adaptability, and sometimes it is. But when it becomes necessary for acceptance, it can come at a significant emotional cost. These behaviors didn't appear out of nowhere. Many were developed as strategies to navigate environments where opportunities, safety, and advancement were uncertain. The challenge is that what helped people survive may not always help them thrive. Surviving and thriving are not the same thing. Survival says, don't make mistakes. Thriving says, take the opportunity. Survival says, stay quiet. Thriving says, use your voice. Survival says, blend in. Thriving says, bring your full self, and that's where the work begins. Organizations have a role to play because this conversation isn't only about individuals. It's about systems, it's about cultures, it's about leadership. Too often, organizations focus exclusively on diversity metrics or representation goals. Those things matter, but numbers alone don't create belonging. Policies alone don't create trust. People create trust. Leadership creates trust. Cultures create trust. When organizations fail to recognize how historical experiences shape workplace behaviors, they risk misunderstanding the very people they're trying to support. What may appear to be disengagement could be self-protection. What may appear to be hesitation could be learned caution. What may appear to be a lack of confidence could be years of navigating environments where visibility carried risk. Understanding that distinction changes everything. So, how do we move forward? First, we acknowledge that awareness is not weakness. Understanding the impact of history does not diminish personal responsibility. It enhances self-awareness. Second, we redefine leadership. Leadership is not about erasing who you are. It's about bringing your experiences, your perspective, and humanity into the room. Third, we challenge organizations to move beyond performative efforts and create cultures where authenticity is rewarded rather than penalized. Cultures where people do not have to choose between belonging and success. Cultures where trust is built intentionally. And finally, we give ourselves a permission to heal. Permission to release the belief that our worth is tied solely to performance. Permission to stop carrying burdens that never were ours to carry alone. And finally, permission to thrive. I want to leave you with this thought. Many of us inherited stories we did not write. Some were stories of struggle, some were stories of resilience, and some were stories of silence. But while we may inherit those stories, we also have the power to write the next chapter. A chapter defined not by survival alone, but by possibility, by leadership, by authenticity, and by the courage to believe that we belong, not because we've proven ourselves worthy, but because we always were. Thank you.
I don't know if you have ever been faced with the decision of life or death, but I have. I was 24 years old, living in Minneapolis, Minnesota, 6.5 months pregnant and on top of the world. I woke up one morning getting ready to go to my doctor's appointment. I get there. After the examination, he walks into the room and he says, I don't know how to tell you this, but you have to go to the hospital right now. And I looked at him in dismay. And I said, now? Why? What's wrong? He said, you have toxemia, a blood disorder, and we need to go get it all checked out. And I looked at him and I was just in shock. I didn't know what to say. And then I looked and I said, please let me go home and get my own clothes. I need to call my mother. Please, please. After much pleading, he agreed. I get home. I pick up the phone. Mama, hurry up. Please come. She said, baby, what's wrong? I have to go to the hospital. Why? They said I have toxemia, blood disorder. Please, I need you. Baby, it's going to be okay. I'm on the next flight out. I get to the hospital and get all checked in. Learn that I'm going to have the baby by C-section that evening. The nurse walks in and she says, now you know this is a dangerous surgery. And because of the dangerous surgery, I need you to sign some paperwork. And the paperwork is to say, do you want to live or do you want your son to live if we get into complications? And I paused and I looked at her. And then I said, I absolutely want my son to live. I have had 24 years on this earth. And by being here 24 years, I've had a grand time. He needs to enjoy life. My mom can help take care of him. So I want him to live. After giving birth, I learned that I died on the table for 3 minutes. But here's the good news. He is 6'1", 230 pounds of a man doing extremely well and thriving. What I learned is that we all have to make decisions. And our decisions include choices. What choice will we take? As we look at leadership, making decisions about artificial intelligence and within the company, and we think about diversity, equity, and inclusion, One thing that we know for sure is the only way to begin to make that decision is to really be educated. So let's talk a little bit about what really is AI. AI is a model that learns from history. It learns from data that we include in that model. It learns from historical information, things that we train it to do. So if it doesn't have diversity information in it and it doesn't have the right data, you're not going to get the right outcomes. That's why they train AI models all the time. So what does that mean when it comes to diversity, equity, inclusion? It means we have to have a diverse perspective at the table. We have to always ensure that as we're training these models and looking at how we're going to use the data, that our teams, the information that we're putting in it is reflective of our values, is reflective of what we want to represent within our company and organization, industry, and most importantly, to our employees as we continue to move forward. And the customers that are going to buy from us, because all of them don't look the same. So what I think is as we begin to do this, there are several ways to address this. Number one, create a diverse IT team that is a council. Their whole responsibility is to ensure that there is all the information inside of the tool, the governance, the process, the way in which we move forward in diversity, equity, and inclusion. So they're the overseeing body. Now, this body should always go out and collaborate with other organizations and other entities like education institutions, nonprofits that actually specialize in equity in AI. They do exist. So that collaboration will ensure that they're bringing the best practices back to the organization and stay attuned with things that are changing. The second thing we need to do is reimagining our work and our workforce and creating those new opportunities. There's one thing for sure, the job roles that will not change in terms of what we need are the humanistic ones. The ones where we have to have human empathy, creativity, and strategic thinking. Those roles AI cannot replace. In addition, where we are managing others and talking about management, where we are interpreting and innovating, it doesn't replace them. But guess what? You can use AI as support to keep you going and to help you with things, but it's not a substitute. I'm going to say that again. It is support, but it is not a substitute. So we have to remember that as we're working with the workforce, we need to upskill. We need to make sure that our employees are able to gain the skill sets they need for those roles that are going to be there, that we do need to have. And not to mention the organizations that are doing the development of AI, the ones who are keeping the innovation going within AI. We want to make sure that the right skill sets are there and that we also provide them the mindset. Let's not forget about mindset, because we all know that every employee is sitting there listening to their favorite radio station, WIIFM. What's in it for me? In other words, how will this impact me? Are you going to help me grow? Are you truly looking to replace me? So our actions and behaviors of how we reimagining work becomes extremely important. And number 3, it is extremely important for all of us to continue to conduct AI impact studies. So what does that mean? We need to evaluate the results of this AI. We need to make sure that the models are being trained the way we intend for our messages to be delivered, the way we want our customers to hear our impact. It is extremely important that we do that as we continue to move forward. It is also important that we are able to make these decisions where we know that it's going to be the best outcome for those that we're working with. So as we continue to face AI advancements and we continue to look at what it's going to do, leadership truly has a choice. The choice is, will I leverage AI as a substitute to help me grow my business and make it efficient and be inclusive from a diversity, equity, and inclusion perspective and continue to stay with my values and move forward? Or will I let AI control me? If you would like to contact me, please do so at VickiWrightHamilton.com. You can also contact me on LinkedIn. You can get me on Instagram and Facebook at Vicki W. Hamilton. And I look forward to having a conversation with you and would love to speak to your organization. Thank you.
Pushing success with a vision so bold we ain't settling for less. Dr. Jimmy Davies laid the whole foundation. Now we moving as a global black-owned nation. Entrepreneurs link from the west to the east. Weekly masterminds where the growth don't cease. AI tech group chats full of wealth, teaching folks how to scale, stack and invest in self. No gatekeepers here, just doors we unlock. Turning side hustles into Wall Street stock. It's a movement, purpose in every track. Uplift the people, try every dot black. Own it, your dream, your grind, your plan. We build legacies hand in hand. Every dot black, we ride. No cap, just fact. It's business power, we ain't looking back. No cap, just facts. Every dot black, here we go, y'all. Every dot black is in the house. From the hood to the hills, we redefine wealth, teaching systems and skills, how to do it yourself. Weekly meetings with the leaders and game changers. Real talk, real tools, real world shapers. AI study groups got us ahead of the wave. We breaking old chains, now we digging new graves. For poverty, doubt, and them myths they talk. This that build up from nothing, kind of food for thought. You don't need a loan, just a team and a goal. We provide both, yeah, we digging the soul. We the future, the now, and the roots in black. If you ready to rise, try every dot black. Own it, your dream, your grind, your plan. We build legacies hand in hand. Every dot black, we ride. No cap, just fact. It's business, it's power, we ain't looking back. Cap, just facts. Every dot black, here we go, y'all. Every dot black is in the house. It's a family of founders, a crew of believers, helping dreamers and doers become high achievers. We don't just talk, we coach, we connect. From the mind to the money, we demand respect. Zoom calls turn to breakthroughs and new growth. We celebrate each win, we all toast. Legacy minded, worldwide in scope. Every black ain't a wish, just hope with a road. No gimmicks, no games, just impact. Facts, own your space, your name and your stats. So if you're tired of the cap and the crabs in the back, level up with the squad, try every dot black. Own it, your dream, your grind, your plan. We build a legacies hand in hand. Every dot black, we ride. No cap, just fact. It's business power, we ain't looking back. Cap, just facts. Every dot black, here we go, y'all. Every dot black is in the house. Own it. Every dot black, own it. Every dot black, own it.
She didn't wait for a seat at the table. She built her own network. From publishing her novel, Won't Be Denied, to building a television platform for entrepreneurs, C.F. Jackson has mastered the art of turning stories into authority. What began as a search to promote her book became a strategy, using interviews to position power and open doors. In 2013, she saw what others didn't. With Roku, she took control of television and launched I Define TV. Since then, she's helped over 400 entrepreneurs elevate their stories and step into authority. She's been featured in Entrepreneur Magazine, heard on Atlanta's V103, recognized as a Marquis Who's Who honoree, and has interviewed notable voices like Sherry Shepard, Regina Hall, and Romany Malco, to name a few. Through the I Define TV Business Spotlight Series and the Turning Point Impact Program, she teaches entrepreneurs how to use interviews to build authority, create credibility, attract attention, and get paid. Because in her world, authority isn't given, it's positioned. And interviews are the power move and the moneymaker. Introducing The Interviewer, C.F. Jackson founder and CEO of I Define TV.
Did you know interviews convert into authority building 60 to 85% of the time? Again, did you know interviews convert into authority building 60 to 85% of the time versus only 5 to 20% of social media posts contribute to authority building? Did you hear that clearly? Only 5 to 20% of social media posts contributes to authority building. All right? Very important to understand. So I'm going to ask you this quick question. How are you building authority? Are you focusing on interviews or are you focusing solely on social media? Which one are you wanting to be moving to? If you're not doing interviews, now's the time to get started. I'm C.F. Jackson. I'm here to share with you today that authority is the moneymaker. It is the fastest, easiest, and most affordable way to generate marketing assets that make you get eager clients to pay attention and pay you. And that's what we're here to do, right? And it's the most important thing. So our goal today is to show you how to implement and leverage interviews to build your authority, create opportunities, create trust, and generate sales. And that's important, right? And no matter what it is you're doing, striving to do, your mission, your purpose, your ministry, your vision, whatever that is, you have to build that authority, that trust to help you generate those sales. So most important thing I want you to write down at this very moment right now is that authority is the moneymaker. Again, say it out loud with me. Authority is the moneymaker. Write that down. It's imperative. And you put it somewhere near your computer or your workstation, at home office, or even on your bathroom mirror to remind yourself that authority is the moneymaker. Not only that, repetition is the moneymaker. You don't do things once, you don't do them twice. You got to wash, rinse, and repeat. So therefore, in order to build authority, you got to do things that could be repetitious to help you generate that authority. Sounds good? Sounds great? Makes sense? All right, so write those two things down. Authority is the money maker and repetition is the authority maker, all right? So again, I want to share with you right now, here again, that interviews are the fastest way to do that. And so first and foremost, I'm going to share who I am a little bit through my stories and share with you how to build that authority and what makes sense for you at this very moment in time, okay? So first and foremost, let you know, I got into this entrepreneur space happenstance back in 2003. I started the year off saying purpose, right? You know how you kind of have some type of saying, slogan. Well, mine came out to be purpose. And I had a confirmation because the very first service I went to, church service I went to, the pastor said purpose. So that gave me what confirmation that I was on the right path. I said purpose, he said purpose. So I was about to get killed by my family and friends because I kept on asking about purpose, purpose, purpose. But what was interesting was one Saturday I had awakened from a nap. I had been in telecom for multiple years. I woke up from a nap this particular Saturday. And guess what? I had a story in my head, loud and clear, title, synopsis. I had never awakened, and I may have, but this particular time I paid attention to something that was so crystal clear, won't be denied, right? In the synopsis and what the story is about. Me being a movie buff, I love film, cinematography, I love the production, soundtracks. If you ask me back in the day, the only thing I would buy before I buy an actual artist, I would buy a soundtrack because they had so much rich music on there that you wouldn't find on the radio and from the artist. So I was standing with a friend at that moment in time. I said, you know what? This is a great film. Being an only child from Florida, I always loved TV and, like I said, all the cinematography. And you want to know exactly where I'm from? I'm from St. Petersburg. If you know that area, drop a love for the drop a love down below for me, right? And so she was encouraged to say, "Oh, you ought to write a book." I was like, "Girl, I don't have time to write a book, and I don't read fiction like that." But I got the phone with her. I'm sitting on the sofa. I'm going back and forth in my head. Literally, I'm sitting out here, write the story. I said, I don't have time to write the story. Write the book. I don't have time to write the book. Write the book. I don't have time to write a book. And then I hear clearly, you want to know what your purpose is, write the book. I'm like, man, this is a weird Saturday, right? Let me get myself up off my feet. And I didn't ask any questions. And I knew what a book would consisted of. And I did that, just that. I wrote the book. Did some research, joined groups. I did everything I needed to do to make sure I compiled and created a very creative book that I would want to read. And there was, in 45 months, I completed this novel. The characters spoke to me at all times of the day, at all times of the night, and there I was. So I was excited about it. I wanted to get my book published, went through the process of trying to find an agent, trying to find a publisher, and it was a wash, right? And then I was in telecom, I could tell you before. And there I was trying to, start this new contract, and it was just not a good fit for me, really, it wasn't. I go into this office space, it was dark and gloomy every time I went in there, and it just didn't have work for me. But my mind was stuck on how to get my book out there to the masses. How can I get it published? So one day I could barely get my toe on the curb out of the parking lot to go into the building, and out of the shadows of the building, home comes what you call it, the agent, my agent from the agency company, and he said that they said I was a good fit, so they decided to let me go. So I was mad, I was angry, but you know what? As you say that, it said CBeyond was the name of the telecommunication company. I said, you know what? I'm going to see beyond all this nonsense, and I'm going to start my own publishing company. So I created my own publishing company for a book of one. Yes, a book of one won't be denied. And there I was. I had these books in my hand, right? All these books in my home. Back then, you didn't have on demand. And so I am trying to get my word out to how to sell all these books and get my money back. And so this particular day, I don't know why to this day, I don't know why I was home, but it was divine intervention. I'm coming from the grocery store, and there I am listening to V103. And I hear people singing, rapping, doing spoken word, because back in the day, that was a thing right there back in 2004 time. And I hear this Tuesday talent. I'm sitting at the stoplight and I hear again loudly, you have a talent. I was like, I do have a talent, my book. So I made a mad dash home, right? Get all my groceries in, throw them on the floor, and I call into B103. Boom, 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 boom. I hear it, and I hear B103. Now, what are the odds for me to call in the very first time and get in? So I was telling the young lady, hey, I want to do the Tuesday talent. She said, well, that segment is over, and somehow the call came to an end. Now, mind you, normally I'm at a job at this time, so I don't know why I was home again, and I'm acting like I know about that, as if I knew what was going on. And I said, this is Tuesday talent here. This is Tuesday talent. It's Tuesday still today. And I never heard of the DJ, never heard of this personality or the show, but I just heard it's Tuesday's talent. It's still Tuesday talent. So I hear it call again. So I call back. I get a fast busy. I'm like, oh, I hear it call again. I call back. This is my here. Tuesday talent. What's your talent? It's the actual radio DJ. I'm like, oh my God, I got in. Now, what's the odds? Get in the first time, had the second time, get in the third time. I mean, my mind was blown. So I tell her, I said, I'm an author. And she proceeds to say, you're gonna read from your book, my sister? I said, yes, I am. So she puts me on hold. I'm nervous. Now, one of the things most people don't want to do, and I get nervous too, as like anybody else, but I didn't want to be in front of the camera, behind a microphone, anything, because oftentimes as a child and into adulthood, I said sometimes berated because of my rate of speech. As a kid, though, I often would say, I don't speak fast. You just listen too slow, right? That was my comeback every time. But I had to work on it. So in order for me not to feel self-conscious of that, I started reading a passage out of my book to make myself available and ready. So when I read, right? So I get back on there, read from my book, and boom. So there I am, like, wow. So I said, that's it. I want you to say, don't stop. Don't stop. Keep moving, right? So I said to myself, I heard, reach out to your family and friends and ask them to email, because we wasn't in social media world at that time. Email her and say, who was that author on your show? Wow, wow, right over, right? So I did that. And somehow we reconnected, and she said, well, will you do the same thing on my show? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I'm like, man. So 2 times in 1 week, I made it on the radio. So I understand why I had never heard this DJ. She said, my show is from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. Normally I'm in bed and about to rise up to go get prepared for work, but I did it. I woke up extra early, like around 4 or 5, read my passage, got the grit out my eyes, and I did it. So again, I did my thing. She said, thank you, my sister. I said, all right. If you don't know, her name is Jada Bird. I don't know where Jada Bird is, but all right, thank you. So say, don't quit, don't stop, right? Write that down. Don't quit, don't stop. So you know what I did? I reached out to my family and friends again and said, those of you who have not already emailed this DJ, please say, who is this author? Wow, where can I get her book? And they did it, right? So, you know what they did? It parlayed me. She invited me into the studio. See, when you have something, you got to continue not to quit. You got to continue to move and don't stop. Keep moving forward. So I made it to the point where I went and bought an outfit for the radio. I bought a radio outfit. I did. If you see the top picture up there on the right, on the left up there, I bought that outfit just to be on the radio, right? I did, right? So there I was with my outfit on, and I made it into the radio studio. And before I made it in there with a platter of fruit, because I wanted to bring something to her, the radio studio security guy said, she must really like you. I said, why you say that? He said, because she seldom brings anybody into the studio. Again, she very seldom brings anybody into the studio. I'm like, wow. So I made it on to V103 in the studio, and all this happened within like a week or two time span. And I was really elated about it. But I say all to say that when you have an opportunity, take the opportunity. You know, don't tell yourself no, let them tell you no. So what does interviews do for you? How do they help you expand? They enhance brand awareness. You know, small business owners leveraging interviews and media platforms report a 65% increase in visibility, according to a recent survey. Entrepreneurs who actively participate in interviews tend to see a growth in online engagement and direct inquiries, right? So it's very important. You want to get seen, you want to get heard, you got to be positioned out there, right? And the funny thing about it, a week or so later, I went down to support a fellow author. She was having a book signing at the Auburn Museum on Auburn Avenue here in Atlanta. And she said, I heard you on the radio. And a few others said, I heard you on the radio. I said, oh, awesome. She reached out to the DJ asking to do the same thing. Unfortunately, she was denied. See, my book is titled Won't Be Denied. So I wasn't denied. But seriously, though, she was denied because the security guy already said she very seldom bring anybody into the studio. So, and I grew up that opportunity. I just could have stopped. And I ask you, would you have stopped if you had gotten the opportunity to be spotlighted that one time on the radio? Once you made it on the radio, on the phone, would you have stopped? That's the question you got to ask yourself. And I'm telling you, don't stop. Keep moving, right? So next, I'm gonna give you a strategy. The strategy today is that I want you to reach out to 10 radio, TV, and podcast shows to be interviewed on. Yes, 10, right? I define TV can be one of those 10. So you can make it 9, right? But give yourself 10. Reach out to a collective of TV, radio, podcast, magazine. Get yourself out there to be seen. That's imperative. You got to do it starting today, right? You got to build trust, right? Trust is the most important thing. You got to build trust. It's very, 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 very important. If you're not building trust, you kind of losing out on opportunities, right? So position yourself with, others with higher authority than you to increase your level of trust. When I showed the interview that when I had the opportunity to speak in front of Roland Martin's his digital show, I took it. May not have been nervous, I may not have been ready, but you gotta take it, right? It brings awareness. People they grasp to me, they respond, either the picture or the interview. They connect to that because, like him or not, he has a brand, he has a recognition bigger than my name, right? Been published in the Entrepreneur magazine. I mentioned that I've been spotlighted in the Entrepreneur magazine. That's brand awareness because Entrepreneur magazine has a long lifespan of authority in what they do when it comes to entrepreneurship, right? I mentioned to people that, okay, I've interviewed Romney Malcolm and Lights because I have my own Roku network, I Define TV. You think that does not bring me more trust because I am tying myself to the Roku brand and the name? So you got to reach out to people who already have the repetition, already have the brand to help scale you and take you to the next level in what you want to do. People want to work with people they already have a connection with those likable brands or trustworthy brands, right? So reputation building is what interviews brings to you. A study shows that 81% of businesses that regularly engage in interviews are perceived as more trustworthy and relatable and reliable, a key factor in attracting and retaining clients, right? You want to be relatable and trustworthy and been connected with brands such as like an Entrepreneur Magazine or I say what's his name, Roland Martin, or saying that I interviewed Romney Malco and so forth. It is valid, you know? So you have to say, how can I do that? So I'm going to give you a strategy right now, right? I want you to position yourself with leaders, media, and brands that are already recognized, like Roku. Roku is the #1 streaming TV platform in the United States with over 100 million households watching today, who are streaming over 100 billion hours of content. So who can you connect yourself with that's trustworthy? There's a brand that's already did all the work and you can tie yourself, connect yourself with them. That is valid and valuable, right? Then you want to track attention. That is so imperative, right? One of my favorite shows back in the day was The Prophet. It was like getting the NBA on TV because this guy walked you through everything that people were going through and how they could improve their businesses all the way, right? So there I was. Oftentimes I would tweet during the time because I was connecting and want to reach out to fellow entrepreneurs during that time. Recognizing that I was bringing attention to myself, many of multiple times didn't recognize it. Opportunity came to me where I was watching it one day, I was watching the repeats, the social media edition, and bam, one of my tweets made it on this social media edition. I'm like, wow, not only once but twice. So it's imperative working like, what can I do to bring awareness to myself? And I've already got one of these swag boxes. They mailed me some swag gear with hats and samples and apparel and all that back and all that kind of stuff. But then also, as I'm tweeting, I was able to attract attention from the founder and CEO of Opportunity Hub. He asked me to be a media partner for one of his events, right? Then I've also had the opportunity to be a media partner with Black Enterprise. Hey, you got to continue to track attention, get yourself seen and positionings and opportunities that will flow to you to help you drive awareness of who you are and build your authority. Have the opportunity to be a media partner with Atlanta Film Festival for multiple years, and it helps me continue to build my brand and build authority in who I am. So I say all that to say is that when it comes to interviews, it helps you create content and use content as a form of multiplication. Interviews serve as content gold mines that can be repurposed into multiple formats, as you already know. A single interview can become several weeks of content, including blog posts, short video snippets tailored for platforms like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, social media quotes to showcase expertise, and even email campaigns to nurture your leads, right? So it's a gamut of things that you can do with interviews, not a one and done thing. And most people kind of get lost in the shuffles with that, right? So here's a strategy for you right now. I want to give you a strategy. Repurpose every interview you've done today. Go back and blow off the dust and find those interviews on social media, on your desktop, your PC, whatever it may be, so you can reuse it because of the fact that it is something that if you're not able to do content tomorrow, but you have a half an hour interview somewhere, chop that thing up, right? So it draws people to remember who you are. You're able to engage them through a conversation that people say, oh yeah, that's what she does. Oh yeah, that's what he does, because of the interview drives people to you. Repurpose it, right? Repurpose it, watch, rinse, and repeat, right? So then it helps you be remembered. Interviews help you become remembered in a place and time that we are caught in this world of so much noise out here today, right? I had the pleasure and honor of interviewing Madam C.J. Walker's great-great-granddaughter, Leo Bonilos. And it was a pleasure interviewing with her because I had the opportunity to read her book. This book, this book, you got to get you a copy of it. It's like in the NBA, and Madam C.J. Walker was ahead of her time back in the day. That lady was a force to be reckoned with. And I was asking a little Bonnie, I said, what do you think your great-great-grandmother would be doing right now in terms of social media? I think she'd be killing it right now. Because what I think from the book is that Madam C.J. Walker, she owned her narrative during her time. She used press releases, she used articles, she used radio, she used whatever means she could to own the narrative. And that's what you have to do as well. And that is what interviews help you do. Own your narrative at the end of the day. Who else is going to own the narrative but you? Through your words, not someone else's perspective or their perceived notion of you, but through your words, right? So Madam T.J. Walker owned her narrative, right? And I've interviewed many of people, and they take the opportunity to utilize it to be remembered. Like the young lady on the bottom left, she posted it on her website. She wanted to make sure people knew that when they go to her website, let them know that yes, I am the entrepreneur's coach. Well, she kind of titled herself. I'm the entrepreneur, something like that. But she put on there showing that she was interviewed on TV. Then you have the guy at the top right there. He took the time and he wanted to share that he was in front of the TV showing that he was interviewed on TV. And the young lady does the same here on the top left. So what are you going to do to be remembered amongst all the noise out there, amongst all the things that's out there that's not seem real or not seem so I say real AI, we'll bring authenticity to yourself, right? And interviews do that. So again, interviews help build stronger personal branding. Interviews allow entrepreneurs to highlight their unique personality, vision, and values. This direct interaction humanizes the brand and creates a lasting impression, helping entrepreneurs stand out in competitive markets. And we are in a competitive place right now, right? So, strategy: define your unique personality, stories, and visions for yourself and your brand, right? Right now, here and now, you may remember at this point something about me because of the fact of our conversation that we're having right here. Yes, I may be the main one conversing, but you can remember one. Hey, she wrote a book, a novel, How to Womp in a Knife. Two, she had a nap and came to her, right? Or maybe she got laid off from her job and she was committed to starting her own company, right? Oh, she actually interviewed Regina Hall. Some things I've shared, and that is what interviews do because it allows people to relate to you rather than reading it. They can actually see and hear your voice, your tone, your tonality, personality. And now in some form of fashion, like, oh yeah, she's from Florida. I think she said she's from Tampa, St. Pete. No, she's from St. Pete. Bump Tampa. I'm from St. Pete, right? Across the bridge, right? But seriously, it helps people connect with you, and that's the power of interviews, right? So how powerful are interviews, right? How powerful can they be? Well, Jimmy Walker interviewed him. It was the second interview he's ever had, and one interview changed everything for Jeremy, right? His interview that he did with us, he shared with somebody, and then boom, they extended an opportunity for him to have his own radio show here in Atlanta. Why? Because it created instant authority, created credibility was on display, and opportunity multiplied for him. And I can say it, but let me allow you to let Jeremy say it for himself. All right.
I had to find Phoebe, and I did what it was. We talked the next day, and before you know it, a week later, we did a promo for what her video helped launch now when I have WCP rated coverage.
And if you already know this guy, his name, his organization is Help Mr. Boots. He's a military veteran, and his goal is he calls himself Mr. Nobody. He's helping those when the people get out of the military. They nobody tells me this, nobody tells them that. He's here to help those who are coming out of the military to find everything they need to know about getting themselves acclimated in this space called civilian world. So reach out. His name is Jeremy Walker, based here in Atlanta. All right. Also, at the end of the day, the proof is in the process. Work with Jennifer, right? And her things before, most people feel nervous about getting in front of the camera. She didn't want to be presented. She wanted to make sure she be presented well, and she feared coming across the wrong way. She avoided interviews and podcast opportunities like a plague, and she hesitated to put herself out there publicly. But during the process, she's able to complete the initial strategy session, felt comfortable, supported, and prepared. She actually booked her own hour-long interview during the process and started showing up a little bit more boldly in front of the camera. And then after that, she increased her engagement on Facebook content. She was able successfully to monetize her Facebook because of the content she was sharing from the program. And then also at the end of the day, though, what's the most important thing I want to share is that she wanted to be part of a program. She wanted to reach out to this one particular guy in her niche, but he recognized her first because of the new content she was posting, and he was able to see her story. And he reached out to her first and invited her to become a part of an actual event, and she said yes. Normally she would have said no, but she felt more comfortable. So you ask yourself, where do you want to fit yourself in the process now when it comes to building your authority? Before, doing, or after, right? So at the end of the day, I can share what she said. She's telling some good stuff. I share what she said in her own words because I can say it, but she can say it better.
And working with you in kind of this, you didn't push me to work with you, but when I reached out to you initially, it was because I was making a concerted effort to try to get out there more. And just this week, now I've worked with you. I did a podcast, an hour-long live video podcast, 2 days ago as well. I've got 2 interviews set up for next week, with other podcasts or other blog kind of things. And this has helped me, the structure that you put together, and really just talking through it like that has helped me to realize that this isn't this big scary thing that I have to do for my business. It's something that helps my business grow, and that I have to be more comfortable doing it, and you've helped me do that.
Awesome. So in the day, that's all I come and have with you today, but I want to invite you to this information today saying that what if the reason you're working so hard is because you're missing one thing, and that's authority, right? Authority Jumpstart reveals why some people attract attention, opportunities, and reveal why others keep grinding for it, right? So I'll walk you through on how to stop competing for attention, become the obvious choice, turn visibility into opportunity, build authority that pays, and complete authority building exercise for you, right? And create your complete personal authority action plan. You get that, you can scan the QR code right here and take advantage of it today. It's complimentary to you. And if you want to put the link in it, you can go to turningpointtvseries.com and you can get it that way as well. Again, turningpointtvseries.com. You can also go straight to the website that way. It's been a pleasure. It's your girl, CF Jackson, the founder and CEO of I Define TV, and I look forward to chatting with you any time of the day. All right. If you want to connect with me, you can find me on any platforms out there under CF Jackson. Talk to you soon and take care. All right. Where we at?
Hey, welcome. I am so grateful to be here to celebrate Juneteenth with you. And I'm also very grateful for JJ Conway to have invited me to be a part of this experience and to be like the cream in the Oreo cookie. I think I might be the only white chick speaking at this Juneteenth celebration, but I'm so honored to do so. And JJ asked me because she knew I had something valuable to share with people that I know are having a problem, because I've been a counselor for over 35 years. And three people off the top of my head come to mind. Johnny, who was a drug dealer, professional drug dealer, very good drug dealer, and Castaneda, who had been a prostitute since she was kind of sold into it when she was very young, 5 years old, it all began. And then Troy, the Vietnam veteran who got addicted to heroin after getting shot in Vietnam and ended up with a 30-year sentence for being a part of a robbery that wasn't even drug related. I mean, seriously, a white guy in my community probably would have got probation. I'm not kidding you. So I get it. I understand how tough it is. But I also know that there is hope. So that's what I want to share with you. I hope you'll stick with me to the end. I want to help you, and I'm going to give you some stuff to get you to that next level where these other three people have gotten to, despite the destitution, the shame, the guilt, and the awful feelings they had after ending up in jail, in prison, and all those other things are heading that way. Now, I have to tell you that I have not been in jail. I have been charged as a felon for helping somebody see their kid when they didn't have the right to see their kid without permission. So I got charged with interfering with child custody. They were going to try and get me for abduction. But long story short, white gal ends up with $250 in fines that I paid to the local pantry. Can you imagine if I would have been a black man that would have done that in the exact same circumstances? I know what would have happened. Now, I'm in central Wisconsin. I am not kidding you when I tell you I had never seen a black person in person until I moved to Phoenix, Arizona when I was 21 years old. How can that even be? Well, for one thing, I hadn't been outside of Wisconsin. I'm a little sheltered farm girl who didn't have any money to go anywhere except our little white circle. Now, there was a man that had moved to town, a doctor who was black, and my sister went to that doctor. I had already left, but I heard the story that she said she left and said, "Mom, why is he so dirty? Why doesn't he wash?" That is how non-white our community is. But by the time I got here, I'll say back to Wisconsin, I moved to Arizona, met my friend Larry, and we got to be good friends. He was my first black friend I ever had. Then I moved back to Wisconsin and again did not run into anybody until Johnny came to me at the job center. He was actually sent to me at the job center to help him get a job. And he was in jail, had moved from an inner city town like Chicago, Racine, I don't even remember, but he was a drug dealer. And he came up here and got caught, which, wasn't real smart to come here because you kind of stick out like a sore thumb in my community back. This was 25 years ago. He got arrested. He was facing prison. He was ordered by his probation officer to avoid going to prison. He had to get a job. He had to prove himself. He had applied, and I verified this with Rhonda from the jail, that he had to apply for 20 jobs a week from the inside of a jail. Come on now. That was long before you get to do it online. That was fill it out with paper and pencil. And then if he got out for his 2 hours a day or 5 hours a week, some crazy amount, he had to run around town trying to hand these things out. He didn't have any money to mail stuff. So, I mean, how insane is this? This is just crazy. So Rhonda sent him over to me and said, "Linda, he hasn't gotten anybody given response in 6 months. He's been sitting here in jail." So we did a resume. Now I want you to think about this. And I actually, if you go on LinkedIn or kind of just Google my name with beneath the criminal record, you'll get my article that'll come up on LinkedIn. But here's what we did. So I want you to think about it. If you're someone that has been through stuff and ended up with any kind of a criminal record, I want you to think about this. I asked him, "Johnny, what kind of work did you do? Obviously, you're in jail with an ankle bracelet. If you get out, you're going to have an ankle bracelet. What did you do before that we could put on a resume?" He said, "Well, I've never worked." I'm like, What do you mean? You're 25 years old. How have you supported yourself?" He said, "I've been dealing drugs." I'm like, "Well, are you a good drug dealer?" He's like, "Well, I don't know." I said, "Well, how much money do you make?" "Well, about $3,000 a week." I barely make $3,000 in a month. And we kind of laughed about it, but I said, okay, you got some skills. So I want you to think about it now. Whatever issue you have in your past, what skills did it take for you to succeed? Maybe your success was survival. Maybe it was getting to your next meal. Maybe it was having the things you have. You got it with skills. So we looked at this guy and we're like, okay, for one thing, what's the main thing about being a drug dealer? Customer service and sales. So we wrote down he was able to develop and maintain positive customer relations, right? Okay, he didn't make all this money doing it all by himself. No, he had a team of people that he worked with. What would we call that? We would call that managerial, supervisory. So he managed and supervised people. He trained, hired, evaluated all of his staff that he had. Okay. All right. So how did he get the product? He's selling product. Well, what do we call that? We call that inventory management and control. But first, you've got to do the transportation. You've got to do the marketing of it. You've got to go and get it. You've got to transport it. That's a big deal. He had to do that safely where they wouldn't get caught, it wouldn't get shot. So, I mean, that takes some finesse to do that. You got to be sure you're picking the right people that aren't going to screw up and run through a stoplight and get stopped, right? So there's a lot to this transporting stuff. And then he'd get it back to wherever it was. Smart guy, didn't keep it all on his property. So you've got inventory management, inventory control. Oh, what kind of inventory? Well, he'd get big loads of it, and then he'd have to weights and measurement and packaging, shipping, receiving. Come on, tell me you're not laughing. Okay, laugh along with me. He's laughing. He's going, come on, who's going to believe this? I'm like, is it true? Did you do these things? Yes. He developed skills. He was a very good businessman to succeed for the 10 years he was on the street. By the time he was 15, 10 years he had avoided getting arrested. So yeah, he did a pretty good job. Now, the challenge was, let me finish the other skills. Okay, he had $3,000 sliding through his fingers. A lot of drug dealers are also drug users, but smart ones aren't. They don't use, because if you use, you're using up all your profits and you're too loaded to be able to do that. I know. I did smoke marijuana and did some other drugs over the years back in the day. I never inhaled, though. Have you ever heard that one? Smoke pot, but never inhaled. Come on, seriously, what's the point? But I haven't done that. It's been honestly 50 years in September since I did any kind of illicit drugs. Wow, I know I don't look that old, but I was 21 years old when I quit using drugs and alcohol. And then I got sober 10 years, started drinking again when I moved back to Wisconsin from Arizona, and drank for another 10 years. Now I've been sober for 30. So if the reason you got in trouble was because of that, alcohol and drugs, been there, done that. Again, just never got caught. Got lucky, never got caught. Otherwise, I'd be a felon for that too. I seriously would have been sitting in prison for a long time if I had got caught all the times I was drunk driving. But thank God. Literally, thank God. All right, moving along. This guy, financial management, he had all these skills. So we put that on a resume. Customer service and sales, boom. Financial management, boom. Supervisory managerial, We had all these things on there. The key was the cover letter. Now, because they would think, yeah, all drug dealers lie and manipulate. This is just another manipulation, just another lying. And so we had to cover that with the cover letter. And people want real. They don't want a bunch of BS. We can't afford to BS the BSer because there's a lot of us professionals out here who've been there, done that. And I can tell a BSer and a drug addict and an alcoholic kind of from a ways away because I've been there, done that. And we don't think about that. People that are professionals that might have the same past as we do, but because they're successful and we don't think we can be successful. I didn't either. But here I am, you know, all these years later, a success. Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because you first have to face the music of what you've done, admit it, face it. Yep, this sucks, made some mistakes. So this is what his cover letter said. Hey, I have screwed up my life, made a lot of mistakes, but I've learned from them. And I really do have all the skills that's on this resume. Please give me a chance to prove it to you. That's seriously what it said. So we went through that, and darned, if he didn't get an interview within a week, got hired, worked successfully, didn't get in trouble again. 9 years later, he called me and said, hey, I've been doing really well. Don't know if you remember me. I'm like, I've talked about you at every job center workshop I've had in the last 9 years. Yes, I remember you. And he was going back to school to get his degree in welding or something. So you are not your past. Wherever you've been, you are not your past. What you are is a faucet of hope. And I call it a faucet because think about it. Where would you be without a faucet? You would be dead right now because you get unless you're laying by a stream or something, but even a stream is a faucet. The water's coming from below, usually. And if you don't have that thing that comes out there and brings that water into the jug, into your glass, into whatever, you're going to die of thirst. In order for a faucet to be of any value, they have to be planted in the ground. In other words, you got to have a solid foundation. Alcohol and drugs is not that. Neither is prostitution. Neither is any kind of illegal activity. None of that. Neither is sitting by the video games all day long. No, that's not a foundation. Foundation is being on solid ground where you can start building a life. So the faucet has got to be in the ground. It's got to be turned on, which means somebody has got to come and turn that thing so that the water can flow through it. You need all of these different things. You need people in your life to help you. But a faucet is an irreplaceable asset for us in the world. And you have skills, talents, abilities, experiences, and interests that nobody else in the world has ever had or ever will have. And if you are a faucet, you need to invest to make sure that you are going to be the best you can be. Because if a faucet gets too rusty or it breaks down or whatever, it's not going to have that water flowing through it. And you are that person that is going to be bringing what you have to offer to the world. You have been created for a purpose. And yes, it may feel like, what could there possibly be? And I know that that's what Castaneda Fitzpatrick felt. She was 5 years old when her mom, alcoholic, drug addict, kind of let the men in the house have their way. By the time she was 10, she was being trafficked. And her first book that she wrote is called 30 Years in the Desert. Look it up or go to my YouTube channel and catch the interviews. An amazing woman, but she thought her life was over until she got arrested. Until in Texas, she went through a program for prostitutes who'd been arrested and were facing prison or jail. And she went through this program. I'm going to get choked up. And she ended up graduating from that first program after living in a sober house for a while, because yes, alcohol, drugs were an issue for her as well. And then she went on to get an associate degree in human services, and just last month got her bachelor's degree in nonprofit management so that she can start the organization Fly with Both Wings, which I'm on the board for. And yes, Castaneta's Black. She lives in Texas, inner city kind of thing. And she goes into jails and prisons now. She is a faucet of hope to all of those women who are struggling with prostitution, being sold into trafficking, and don't know how to get out. She has spoken all over. She has overturned laws, has created new laws in Texas just this last year on how the media, people in the media, hunt people. And so they have a new law in Texas that she was the primary person to get that law put into action so that they could block people who are trying to traffic young people. Amazing, irreplaceable asset. Castaneta Fitzpatrick, look her up. You can let go of that shame that you have when you are realizing that it was that thing that got you where you are today. I have been through a ton of stuff: divorce, abortion, alcohol, drug addiction, sexually assaulted, lots of stuff that I could really, feel bad about, which I did for a lot of years. It kept me stuck. But when I realized that God, who I believe is out there, that he created me for a purpose, I believe I'm on this earth for that reason, and he allows us. I don't think God makes any of this happen. I think there's another entity out there. I think, hey, not today, devil, not today. Not going to listen to you, not going to put up with that. I have atheists that use this phrase just to take control of their own thoughts, because it's what we think that causes us what we feel, and what we feel that causes us what we do. So you got to change your thinking. I am not worthless. I am not a loser. I am not a criminal. I may be an ex-offender, but we all are. We have all offended somebody in life. We have all broken the law somewhere. We just never got caught. It's the only difference between you and probably 95% of the rest of the world. They never got caught. That's it. And yes, the color of their skin, which is probably the other reason why they didn't get caught. And it's not fair and it's not right. But you know what? We can't use that for an excuse to not move on. We can't let that cause the anger and because then we're spending more time on anger than we are on anything else. We've got to let go of the shame and the anger that goes along with it. You can be successful, clean, sober, and sane. Let me quick tell you about Troy. I met Troy after my husband and I and my daughter and a vet rep started a nonprofit organization for homeless veterans and other folks coming out of jail and prison who were, like my husband and I, recovering alcoholics and drug addicts. My husband, I met him at AA. Troy we got real friendly with probation and parole because that's what we specialized in. And Troy was sent to us right out of prison. He was in the TLP, they called it the Transitional Living Program. But the people that were in the government sponsored program there, the little housing, they were doing drugs, and he didn't want to fall back into it or get in trouble because the guys in the house were doing drugs. So he reached out, said, I heard about you. Can you take me in? We took Troy in, heard his story, shot in the rear end in Vietnam, and was on pain medication, back problems as well. But he had a lot of pain, came out addicted to morphine. Long story short, drugs on and off over the years, came to Wausau, not a good idea, got hooked up with some people here, and they decided to rob a store, East Bay athletic shoe store. Not, with guns blazing into some grocery store. They went at night to a shoe store and they got caught. And because Troy kind of was the mastermind, they figured he got 30 years in prison. No big drugs involved, just a robbery. And I don't want to minimize a robbery, but come on now, 30 years, that's ridiculous. And he did get off for, what was it called? Something in unusual punishment. Something in an unusual punishment. Too much punishment. There's another word, can't think of it. But he got off after 13 years. But while he was in prison, he decided to make use of himself. He became a licensed minister, had a conversion experience, turned his life over to God, became a licensed minister. He started a greeting card business in there. You know how that goes, where you're trading stuff and that kind of thing. So he made beautiful greeting cards. And then he wrote a business plan to start the Hot Diggity dog stand when he got out, which he had a dream of having a hot dog stand that had some really unique things on it, like green peppers and onions and jalapenos. That's not something we did up here in central Wisconsin. So he wanted to do something different. So he got out with this dream. He came to us. And we had businesses going, because what else are we going to do with these guys? We couldn't get them all jobs. We started businesses to train them, give them a reputation of being able to prove that they could show up every day. And they weren't even getting paid. This was part of their training program. We had a small engine repair business. One of the guys came, he could do that. It's like, okay, we already had a snow removal and lawn care business. So if people's stuff broke down, now we had somebody to fix it. So that we started that business. We had a clothing store, not clothing, but thrift store with anything and everything. It grew so huge, we had to start another one and then another one. And I mean, it got too big for us, too big to manage. And we ended up having to close some stuff down because we had 46 beds and 5 businesses, and it was kind of nuts. And then my husband and I retired and it kind of fell apart. But in the process, we ended up, the probation officer wouldn't let Troy buy his own Hot Diggity dog stand because he was a convicted felon. And they didn't want him because it was drug related. They wouldn't let him be around children because he did have some drug related offense in there. I don't know what exactly, but yeah, they wouldn't let him do it because kids might come to buy hot dogs. So we bought the Hot Diggity dog stand and we got the ball rolling, and happened to have some guy that came off a carnival who had run food stands. He did that. So by the time Troy, I helped him get a job at the VFW, the Veteran of Foreign Wars. They had their own little grocery or restaurant. He got a job there. worked there for that year and a half, 2 years, and then his probation officer let him buy that stand from us. And Troy, gonna get choked up again, became the first African American in the city of Wausau, which was like 100 years old or more. The first African American to ever have a business here was a convicted felon in our own community and was highly respected. Front page of the paper. An amazing story. And my point is, people, you can be successful. You can be whatever you want to be because you are not alone. You don't have to be alone. You don't have to do this. You don't have to spend all your time trying to get back at the people that have wronged you. All of these people had been wronged. Troy and Castaneda and Johnny had all been wronged by our system. They had been targeted because they were poor, they were Black, they were, eventually drug addicts. Not fair, but real. And yes, we can all sit on the pity pot and feel sorry for ourselves because life isn't fair, or we can get off the pot and we can start doing something and still quit sitting in our own crap. How about that? How about let's do this? Let's do this together. I know JJ Conway is all about helping people become wealthy. That's part of what this conference is about that I'm speaking at. It is about you being successful, and doggone it, I am here to help you. So I don't want to hear any excuses about why you're not, oh, poor me, nobody will help me. I'm offering to help you. Whoever you are, I usually work with older women. It's okay, whoever you are, I'm here for you. Please reach out, go to my website, LindaLarsonSchlitz.com, and there's a link there that says, talk to me or reach out to me or something. It's a starter of a 20-minute conversation to see what can I do to help you. It might be referring you to somebody I know. It might be helping you with a resume. It might be, I am a queen of resources. And I, at minimum, am going to show you how to use the 3 G's to transform your life. And let me tell you what that is. Here's another gift I want to give you. I want to give you a chapter of the book that's coming out here, hopefully in the next month. I'm not going to say hopefully, doggone it. It's going to come out, perfect or not, in July. And it is called 3 No-Fail Life Habits, the 3G method to rewire and transform your brain, body, and spirit. There is no reason for anybody to not succeed and be whatever you want to be. Okay, granted, I could not be probably a professional golfer at this point or play in the NFL, let's be real, because I'm not interested in golf. I used to be interested in football, but now body's not going there. And so, but you can do the thing that God put you on this earth to do. First, you got to get clean and sober. If you aren't that, you got to give up all this other stuff that is getting in your way. If it's your anger and your shame and your guilt, okay, I can help you with that. That's part of what counselors and life coaches do. So please reach out and I will get you a copy of my first chapter of my book to kind of get you going. And or you can watch for it on Amazon. It'll be out soon. I've got other books on there, including Speak to Me, God, I'm Listening. That's 365 daily meditations for those who want to hear God answer life's toughest questions. So if you've got that question, God, why did you let this happen to me? He'll answer you. And ask him right now if you want to. I asked him 365 times when I wrote that book, and I asked him every single day. Now, why did this happen to me, God? Now I say, God, I am grateful that you allowed all these things to happen to me in my life so that I could be a blessing to others. I'm good at turning the negative into the positive and finding the good in others. And my goal is to transform lives today. So I hope that whoever you are, you have found some value in this and some benefit, and that you will take the time to reach out to me. I have got hundreds of videos on my YouTube channels. I've got a couple channels, Purpose Driven Recovery Academy and Linda Larson Schlitz. Feel free to take a look, and this is one that will probably go right onto my playlist because there's a lot of people that need help. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for attending Juneteenth and celebrating this amazing story that I and everybody I know is going to hang on to and not bury and not try to minimize and not try to hide it under a bushel like it never happened, like there isn't discrimination, because there is. And I'm sorry, but I will not be one of them. And God bless you. My prayers are with you now and have been for a long time. I actually prayed that whoever is here today is supposed to be here. So thank you. May God bless you.
Hello, this is Dijon, like the city in France. Russell like the athletic wear, Milow like the tea. What's going on? I want you to know that I want to make a significant impact on your students' collegiate and scholastic lives. I come from perseverance, resilience. I weighed 1 pound and 9 ounces at birth, 28 weeks, 5.5 months early, as well as got a strong work ethic and a strong academic background. In the words of the late John Johnson, perseverance in a continual way, there's always opportunity. In the words of the great Benjamin E. Mays, I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Force upon me, didn't choose it, didn't seek it, but it's up to me to use it. Give an account if I abuse it, I must use it, for there's only an eternity that is in it. When I speak to my students like I did in previous time, I spoke on perseverance. When I talked about being a pirate, as an alumni, as a student from 2004 to 2007, 2006, I want them to know, hey, if Mr. Dijon can make it, I can too. Do y'all know I was a sports trainer back in the day? So I got a chance to carry the equipment bag, pull out the jerseys, tie every gentleman's necktie that was on the team. That built my confidence, my endurance, and my maturity. And now some of them that have started businesses, they've asked me to come and consult with them. I want to leave a lasting impact on students, both scholastic and collegiate. Work hard, and when you work hard, you will reap the benefits. You will get all the reward of what you're trying to do out here in life. This gentleman was a civil engineer. I was so captivated by what he did. We struck up a conversation. I wanted to know, how did this black man, this OG, this brother, get to where he's at? And so I began to strike up a conversation with him. Post high school, middle school, he offered to write me a letter of recommendation for a scholarship. And it's a relationship. That is what we all are talking about. When you get ready to meet your teacher, okay, they teach. Do you know that they may have a resource outside of the school or the community? They may be able to help you years down the line. No matter where you go in life, there is always always a continuing opportunity to defy odds, and there are always going to be endless possibilities. Peace and love. Thank you so very much. Oklahoma State University, what's going on? It's your boy D-Russell. D-Russell Milow, Dijon like the city in France, Russell like the athletic wear, Milow like the tea. But I want to tell y'all that it's been a genuine pleasure for y'all to have me here at the 8th annual Juneteenth Economic Forum Summit. Right there in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Greenwood District. Knowing that there was just May 30th and June 1st, 1921, when an angry mob of white folk tried to just destroy businesses, communities, and families. But 105 years later, we ain't gonna take it no more. We are doing what we doing. I want to especially thank Lieutenant Colonel J.J. Conway, as well as Miss Vanessa Howard, the only black on the Tulsa City Council, as well as Miss Christie, who started her own curriculum for young black women and men, the next generation, so they can have something to know and see and understand. Now, I want to say to this today, it's been 105 years since a white mob stormed the Greenwood District of businesses, communities, and as well as families. And folks, that is just something to really consider, really kind of conceptualize that, really think knee deep about that when in dealing with us African Americans. I'ma just say black. I'm not gonna even sugarcoat it, it ain't necessary. Black folk, us. This melanin we got right here. We are in the style and age of progression. Yes, progression. Just like with AI, just like Curtis Mayfield said, we back to living again. Back to living again, yes indeed. And I had a chance to meet Dr. Opal Lee. Her granddaughter, let me be more exact and more precise. Dr. Opal Lee's granddaughter, Miss Dijon Sims. That dear sister, oh. And the family and the production team was wonderful, lovely. Got a chance to talk with her. She was so warm, so heartfelt. I mean, I really enjoyed myself just being able to sit with our elders, even though they may have been the grandchild. Let me tell you something, the Heavenly Father has always just continued to bless me as I've been able to be in that kind of company. I'm grateful and thankful. So as the next generation, got me about to sound like Cornel West. Oh yes. But as I want to say, the next generation, I want to make sure they right behind me. Not just with these toys, video games, and these cell phones. I want them to actually just literally see our history in color. Like they said the show, the TV show, In Living Color. We are in living color right now, whether they want to erase us or not. I made 51 calls on behalf of the NAACP here in Metro Atlanta, up to the state of Virginia from 8 o'clock p.m. to almost midnight. And there was a major turnaround in that effect. Oh, yes, it was. All right, y'all, peace and love in my late Curtis Mayfield voice. I thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. On behalf of D. Milow Enterprise.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm super excited to talk to you about a topic that I think is important for our Black communities. One of the things that I want to talk about today is wellness within the Black community. My name is Dr. Jasmine Reed. I am a clinical psychologist. I am in California. I have a group practice where we focus with Black and Brown people of color, and particularly around mental health, as well as I have a consulting company where I do workshops, consulting for large organizations when it comes to wellness and leadership. I'm excited to talk about this because I think this is an area where we all can be able to improve on and be able to talk about some things that we can be able to have an adjustment on. When we talk about wellness, wellness has a plethora of different meanings. One of the things that I think that I wanted to highlight for this particular time is what wellness has meant for me. When I started working with people, and particularly those who had lots on their plate, one of the things that I recognized is that they didn't have time for these traditional ideas about what we thought wellness was. And for a lot of us, there's a lot going on in our everyday life that we need to be able to have some realms of social media to be able to get away from the outside noise, to be able to get away from our own community and violence and environments that we have to get away from. So it's very difficult for us with all of the isms that go on in the world, along with the broader view of the neighborhoods and our own family dynamics of what we have to deal with. We all have issues, we all have troubles, but I think particularly for our Black community, one of the things that we don't overemphasize or highlight a lot of times is how we have moved away from wellness and how can we get that back into what is the origin of us. When I look at wellness and I think about wellness, I think about self-care, and that's the first one. And self-care practices are not new. Historically, we have, as people of color, been able to do things from the African diaspora to make sure that we were healing ourselves in a communal setting, as well as when we think about historically, when we look at groups like the Black Panthers and how they incorporated all of these different yoga and techniques to be able to make sure that although we were out there fighting for justice and we were doing things, that we also were taking care of ourselves, and that we found ways to be able to center ourselves with mindfulness techniques. And over time, we have moved away from that because we started to see these things as not things for people of color, but things for people who are non-melanated, which is further from the truth. And so when I think about these things, I always want to highlight to companies and organizations and people and individuals about how can we be able to start to have these practices back into our community and be able to make it something that's part of how we function. So there's three things that I kind of want to focus on today. I want to talk about, one, the fact that we don't have to do this big ordeal about self-care. We can incorporate self-care as part of our own personal wellness in our everyday practices. And it doesn't mean that it's this huge thing that we're doing, right? It doesn't mean that we're flying to another country. It doesn't mean that we are going to a spa. All those are nice things to have. It really means that we find little things to be able to incorporate in our life to make sure we're taking care of ourselves. If you think about some of the things that you have on your plate right now, most of the time we sacrifice ourselves as one of the things when we have a lot of things on our plate. But in the reality is, in order to be able to take care of ourselves fully, that's the one thing that we can't sacrifice. Otherwise, if we don't take care of us, everything else goes down. So think about how many of you are the person in your family who take care of everything. So you can't afford to be able to be down and out. Or think about how many of you are the person who that your company survives on. So how do you continue to have those positions if you don't take care of yourself? In those situations, you can't afford to. And that's oftentimes what us as Black members of that community have trained ourselves to think about, that we continue to push, that we push through spaces even when it doesn't feel comfortable. And yes, the resiliency about how we have done that has been amazing, but it also comes with some consequences as well. So I want you to think about, how can you be able to incorporate something different for yourself? What does that look like? For me, I have a regimen when it comes to my bed routine, and that regimen breaks for no one and nothing. And it's important because it is what sets the standard of me having really good sleep versus very terrible sleep. So I don't have the ability to incorporate anything but being able to distress myself at night. And that's a very lengthy routine that takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours, but it is something I do for myself to be able to handle all of the woes of being in the business, being a professor, and being able to take care of other people. The second thing I want to be able to think about is partnership. And in thinking about how Black people are communal, we want to be able to think about partnership. Most of the times, how we build our community is being able to partner with those who have like minds. And so I want you to think about, who can you be able to rely on for accountability, as well as the feeling of being able to talk about like the areas in which you are unable to think about expanding on when it comes to self-care. Who's going to hold you accountable for those spaces? Who's going to be able to help you in those spaces? Who wants to be able to incorporate those things? A lot of times we have friends and family and people around us who are going to be able to enjoy in those spaces, or who could benefit from those spaces as well. What if that means creating a walking group, or being part of a walking group, or doing a walking group with a friend? So finding how we can be able to start to find things that feel safe for us, that are around people who look like us, who feel good for us, is an important aspect for being able to highlight wellness. The last part that I would want to say when it comes to wellness is being able to think about a culture of boundaries. And boundaries are going to be important for those who have been doing everything. I think about all of the things that are going on in today's world, and they haven't been different, but they continue to happen for us. And I want you to think about, like, how do I set up healthy boundaries with people so that I am not running myself raggedy? And when we think about how do I help myself be able to set those boundaries, oftentimes we don't have good boundaries. Matter of fact, what makes us go overboard is the lack of boundaries we have. So when we're talking about building community, we can't create self-care, and we can't find these accountability people if we don't have good boundaries on what that looks like. Having good boundaries is part of your wellness process. Oftentimes, it may be perceived as being bossy or maybe selfish. But the reality is, you have to take care of yourself to take care of others. And so in order to take care of others, you have to have some boundaries about how you navigate. So with all three of these things, I would encourage you to be able to think about, how can you simply add these things to make sure that you have your own self-care practices in your space. And as you go through this process, feel free to be able to think about, like, what are other ways I can be able to do this? How can I find other resources out there? Have I been taking care of myself? All of that is an evaluation process for us to be able to get back to this space of wellness in our community. If you would like to reach out, I really appreciate and love when I talk to people about these things. So please reach out to all social media at Dr. J. Reed on Facebook and Instagram, and LinkedIn at Dr. Jasmine Reed. I hope that if you take just a little bit of this time to think about where you're at in your wellness practice, that you'll be able to think about there's always room for improvement and that there's something out there for you to be able to think about how you can care for yourself. So ultimately, you can do what you need to do for your community. I hope this was helpful for you, and I look forward to chatting with you very soon. Have a good one.
But three kinds of people: those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those who wonder what happened. I'm a person that makes positive things happen, and I believe that you are too. This is your time, and this is your turn. This is the decade for the doers to take a chance, take charge, and take control of your life, because you can always better your best. There's 8.5 billion people on the planet, and there'll never be another one just like you. No one else can duplicate your fingerprint, your handwriting, or your voice. This is your day. This is your time. I got a positive, powerful, and purposeful message for you today, tonight, whenever you're listening. Mastering your message. Pick up your mic. We need to hear your voice. And again, congratulations to the 8th Juneteenth Legacy Comfort, always sponsored by JJ, and we are so glad to be with her today as we have another great message from you. Mastering your message. Pick up your mic. We need to hear your voice. What I want to start off today, this is Dr. Jonas Gatson, DTM, known as Mr. Enthusiastic, author of Mastering Your Message. Pick up your mic. We need to hear your voice. Spent over 30 years in corporate America, treating people from around the world. This is my actually ninth best-selling book, and this book is on the market right now as I speak. Mastering Your Message. Your mic, because we need to hear your voice. We need, all of us have hurt habits and hang up, but we want you to share number 4, the healing power, because this is your time and we need to hear your voice. And some of you may want to raise, want to start your business, want to write that book, want to be a better leader on your team. You need to increase your voice. You need to be able to articulate. You need the number one tool that you need for 2026 and beyond is to be able to speak successfully in public speaking and make connection with people from all over the world. Knowing this, that when you speak to any audience, you're speaking to 5 different generations. So you got to be able to connect with them. And let me tell you something, as I share this to you, I got something I'm going to share with you that's going to transform your life. Always make your word short and sweet, because you'll never know which one you will have to eat. Ooh, I think I said something. I think that's a bonus from Jonas. Always make your word short and sweet, because you'll never know which one you'll have to eat. And when you do a presentation, you have to work to touch that person's heart, because everybody make decisions based on their emotionalism. It's been tested that 100% of every connection is connecting with your heart, connecting with your feelings. Are you touching them? Number one, when you reach to make that connection, you're getting to touch the emotions. And then later on, they want the logic. It's the emotion, then the logic. And then it touch your hand. Then it also affect your life. And then you're moving away from change to transformation, to get a checkup from the neck up. You want to stand up to be seen, speak up to be seen, and sit down in order to be appreciated. Let me repeat that. You want to stand up to be seen, sit down to be appreciated. Come on, stand up again. Let me slow down. You want to stand up to be seen, speak up to be heard, and then sit down in order to be appreciated. And as a kind of speaker, you don't want to be the kind of speaker that is glad twice. Glad to see you get up and glad to see you leave. And so let me share some of the pointers with you if you want to make that connection, if you want to get that raise. Some of you are at the C-suite and you're afraid to think. You're holding your thoughts. So when you think about it or think about it and say it, they said just like you didn't even say. I know. I was in corporate America, Fortune 500 company. I was in the room with the executive. I made comments and they didn't pay any attention to me. Someone else came on. But what I did, as they laughed, I learned. And then I learned to go back to school now and graduated in speaking and go with Dale Carnegie, graduated in a DTM in Toastmaster, and also congratulate, teach people from all over the world and touching people. They laugh, but I learned. And I want to encourage you that one of the things you want to be able to do to improve your communication and work on that. We need to hear your voice, because the voice that we are saying right now is not our voice. Maybe it's our parents' voice. Maybe it's our teacher voice or our coach voice. We need to hear your voice. We need the authenticity. And let me share something. When I opened a morning ago, I opened with a hookup. See, most people come in, good evening, how you doing? I'm so glad to be here. Hey, people are going to turn you off. The first 3 to 5 seconds, they turn you off. And then the next 90 seconds, when you get on the stage, they cut you off. So you want to bring a story. You want to have some antidote. You want to bring something, story that really happened, something that you overcame. Because we all have hurts, habits, and hang-ups, as I mentioned. But the healing power, you turn your obstacle into opportunity, your stumbling blocks into stepping stone, and your scars into stars. Oh, come on, somebody. And by the way, when you tell your story, some of you are telling stories that happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And I've listened to some people, and I was so touched. I said, when did this happen to you? I'm thinking 10 years ago, 15 years ago. He said, yesterday. What mean yesterday? And you telling that as if it's happened. You know why? Because number one, they're nursing it. Number two, they're cursing it. Number three, they're rehearsing it. Well, you said, Dr. Jonas with the bonus. If I can't curse it, I can't rehearse it, and I can't what is what? And if I can't nurse it, then what do? Reverse it. This is 2026. It's verse it. You need a new story, and it starts with a new beginning, and move away from change to transformation. Because change is temporary, but transformation is permanent. I don't care how many legs a caterpillar has. I don't care how fast it can run. It can never fly. The caterpillar must die in order for the butterfly to fly. Mother, with wings like an eagle, because this is your time and this is your turn. And so when you're talking to people and you're building it, first of all, in my brand new book, number one, know yourself. Number two, know your subject. Number three, know your specific audience. First of all, know yourself. Know who you are, what you want to be, what you want to do, and what you want to have. Know yourself. Work hard on yourself. Then you work on your job. Know who you are. Know what your gifts are. Know what your dreams are. Because if you pursue your purpose, No pain can hold you back. Had several operations since last year, and it was trying hard to keep me back. But I said, I got to be, I got a message to share. So I got to be. I might not be as enthusiastic. I might not be as clear. My words might not be sharp, but the devil is a liar. Because the book I read says, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. That life and death is in your tongue. Speak life. Speak your dream. And if I can do it from a plantation to the president of my company, I know you can do it. And the time to do it right now. And do it now. So know yourself. Work on your gift. Because each of you are pregnant with possibility. Don't abort your dream, birth your dream. And you came here pregnant. You came here with a gift. Come on. But you have to develop that gift, and that gift will take you in front of King. That gift will open up doors for you. They laughed at me. But as they laughed, I continue to learn. I continue to study. As I said earlier, 8.5 billion people on the planet. There'll never be another one just like you. No one can duplicate your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, or duplicate your voice. We need to hear your authentic voice. And now let me share a few V's with you. And number one, going to hear your voice. The original. You got your story, and they're looking for uniqueness. They are not looking for generalists. When you get to this conference, go home and go on your computer and put in generalists. And you'll get papers after papers. But if you put in a specialist, and that's what I am, I specialize in public speaking. I specialize in communication. What do you specialize in? Come on, somebody. People are not paying for what you are playing with. They're looking for us. They're looking for the real thing. They're looking to find out what differentiates you between the 8.5 billion people. And what differentiates me is what I bring. The value, the next V is value. Bonus from John. When your value is clear, your decision is easy. I bring value. I add value. Come on, somebody. You don't come with a sad story. You come with hope. With hope, a positive message. Hope is a positive message, a positive creation of the positive thing that you bring that makes you the different. What makes you not a duplicator? That makes you the real thing. That makes you authentic. Even though pain is rocking my body, that's not going to stop me to be a part of this conference. To be with JJ, to be with Dr. Fraser and many other of these great speakers that you're gonna benefit from, because we bring solution. Bonus, don't focus on what you have lost. Focus on what you have left, because what you have left is enough to get the job done. I said, don't focus on what you have lost. Yesterday is a cancer check. Tomorrow is a promissory note. But today you have cash in your hand. Spend it wisely. Invest in the most important person on the planet. You. Don't listen. Do the work, because you are worth it. Oh, I think I said something. That's another bonus. I said, do the work, because you're worth it. And if you live your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations, and you know that you are worth it, you'll do the work. So not only that, not only know yourself, know your subject. You heard of jack of many trades and master of none. That's not accurate. It's jack of many trades and master of one. Just one thing I do. Specialize in that one thing or die. Don't be all over the place. And stop looking at through the rear view mirror. That's where you've been. Look at them through the what I look at the windshield. Because that's where you were going. And this is the time to do it. And what time you should do it? Do it now. It's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. So don't you give up. We are talking to you because we believe in you. Yes, it's true. We believe in you. There are gifts that's undeveloped. There's books that you need to write. There are restaurants you need to start. There's a promotion you need to do. There's a restaurant. I don't know what it is for you, but you know what it is. And I mentioned earlier, again, people got to be touched by the emotions. It's the heart. Then they make logic. Logic after the emotions. So it actually is the heart, then the head, then it's your hand. Then you take that hand and reach down to help somebody up. And that's what this conference is about. It's about us reaching back. It's about us helping someone else. And so let me share a few more things about why you should focus on your language and your words. Your words can transform your world. Oh, I think I said something. I said your words can transform the world. The book I Guide My Life said life and death is in your tongue. What are you talking to yourself about? And why are you listening? Why are you listening to the naysayers? And I know you heard this before, and it's true. If you hang around with 5 broke people, you will be number 6. But if you hang around with 5 success people that reading the books, that go to conference, to go to master class, I spend literally $2 million traveling around the world to learn from the best of the best. I just was recognized a few years ago from the President of the United States for volunteerism for 5 decades. And whoever the best, I'll find it. Once I say yes, I find the money legally, moral, and ethical after that. But let me tell you a couple of the few of the C's that's in my brand new book, Master Your Message. Your mic, we need to hear your voice. Number 1, you need to be crystal clear. Your message needs to be crystal clear and take in consideration there's at least 5 different generations of language that you're to it. So you want to be crystal clear with your message so people can know what your message is. And I said crystal clear. See, that's why people all over the place, people say, well, I'm specialized. I can do this. Well, you might be good in 10 things. Write all 10 of those things down. And then write the top 3. And then pick one out of that. And specialize and be crystal clear on what your message is. Crystal clear. The message that's sent got to be the message that received. Crystal clear on your message. And that sometimes that takes weeks, sometimes that takes months, sometimes that takes years. That's why you need a coach. That's why you need somebody to guide you. I have coaches in my life that can help me better my best. Now come on, somebody. And I don't mind to put my money where my mouth is. I travel all over the world, flew all over the world. A lot of it's in the brand new book. That's because if you want a better life, you're going to have to fight for it. And your number 1 enemy, you got to put down, you got to put down yourself. You got to let self go so you can grow. I remember, some of you probably remember, a number of years ago, Muhammad Ali had a boxing match against my homeboy, Joe Fraser. And Joe Fraser knocked Muhammad Ali down in a heavyweight match. And then Howard Cosell asked Muhammad Ali, asked her to both. Say, when he knocked you down, why'd you get up so early? Muhammad Ali expressed, because the canvas is no place for a champion. The reason why I keep getting up, because the canvas is no place for the champion. You know why JJ keeps getting up? Because the champion is no place. The canvas is no place for a champion. You know why Dr. Freeman, not Freeman, Dr. My doctor right in front of me, Dr. Fraser. Dr. Fraser. Is it Dr. Fraser? Yeah, Dr. Fraser. You know why he keeps coming back up? Because the canvas is no place for a champion. You know why I'm not going to give up, even though I'm in a lot of pain today, and the pain didn't want me to get? Because a champion, the canvas is no place for the champion. You know why we are on this, speaking to you from all over the world? Because the canvas is no place for a champion. I might be knocked down, but I'm not knocked out. I will get up. It's only rounds number 1. Ding, ding is scheduled for rounds number 15. And I'm not going to let my pain prevent me from living my purpose. So that's critical there. That you know your subject, you know your subject, and know yourself, and then be crystal clear on your message, and be specialized in that one thing. Don't be a generalist, be a specialist. And then the next thing is you got to be able to connect with your audience. A lot of people are talking, but nobody is listening because they're not connecting. And let me tell you something I learned too. People don't care about what you drive. They don't care what you know. They don't care about where you live. They don't care about your retirement. They don't care. No. The only thing they care about, everybody is walking around, driving around in this world with a neon sign on their forehead. And the neon sign says, "What's in it for me?" And if you give them what's in it for them, you add the value, what's in it for them. You tell them not about your future, but you talk about their future. They don't care about you. So look, that's why I ain't talking a lot about my resume. My resume and accomplishment. People don't care. They don't care about what I drive. People don't care. They don't care about what college I go. They don't care. Now you can share that later on, but they want to know what's in it for me. And most people out there that are speaking, they're trying to sell people on what's on for them. They're wrapped up in the smallest package in the world. That's me, myself, and I. That's why when I land a contract or talking to anyone or talking in a company, the first thing we give them is a needs assessment so we can know what their vision are, know what their goals are, know what their principles are. Come on. Their needs assessment. Then we answer the needs assessment. Then we build a master class or we build a training or we build a coaching session built upon their need. So you got to connect with people, and you got to speak with confidence. And when you do these things, you too can become a master speaker. Pick up your mic. We need to hear your voice. Yes, you've been listening to Dr. Jonas with the bonus, known as Mr. Enthusiastic. Training people from around the world in corporate America. Got 9 best-selling books on Amazon. Brand new one is out right now. Mastering your message. Pick up your mic. We need to hear your voice. If you want to contact with me, I'm on all social media. You can get me on Instagram. You can get me on the let me see. Once you go to my website, www.jonasbonus.com, you get a free gift. And you can go on LinkedIn, you can go on Facebook, and you can go on Instagram. Or you can email me with Jonas with the bonus at outlook.com. Jonas with the bonus at outlook.com. or because you're with JJ and you're with Dr. Fraser and you're with us and many others, I'll give you my personal telephone number. It's 585-703-9547. That's 585-703-9547. And remember, if you cheat yourself in your preparation, it will show up in your presentation. My motto is, since greatness is possible, excellence is not enough. Go for greatness. Go for greatness. Go for greatness. Go for greatness. Go for greatness.
Good morning, beautifuls. How are you this morning? I am so blessed to be able to see you this morning. I'm grateful for another birthday. I don't take this time lightly. It is a blessing to wake up to see another birthday. So celebrated my birthday last weekend, and then I'm 2 days from celebrating my anniversary. So I don't take birthdays, anniversaries lightly. It is a blessing to have them. It's a blessing to have them. But this morning is a very special day. This morning is the opening or the launch of our birthday and anniversary specials, and I'm excited about that. One of the things that I have really been reflecting on this time and season coming into a new birthday and an anniversary is I've been reflecting on growth mentally, spiritually, physically also, and then the grace of God to do what I have to do and to do it well and to do it unapologetically. And I've been focusing on, healing, all the lessons that come with healing, and the importance of me being intentional about me. And I think sometimes we don't do enough of really being intentional about ourselves. And part of that is because we are not taught. We're not taught to prioritize ourselves. We're not taught to do that. And because we're not taught to do that, when the opportunity arises for us to do it, we hesitate. We hesitate all the time. We hesitate when it's time to pour into ourselves. We just don't do it. And so I've been guilty of that, but I've learned over the years that when I don't prioritize my own healing, my own growth, I can never show up the way that God has called me to show up. So I want to just talk a few minutes, if I can, to just hear my heart. I have been doing this work now for a little bit over 20 years, I'd say. I started first, didn't even know I was going to be doing it, to be honest. My husband and I both started working with couples very early, very early. And it was kind of an impromptu opportunity. We got to work with someone. And as a result of that, it was not uncommon for couples to come to our home, sit on our living room couch and pour out their hearts and souls. It was not uncommon for me to get phone calls and opportunities to meet or get calls out of my bed on a Sunday morning to sit with a pastor's wife or whatever it was to help her navigate whatever those situations were. It is what God has called me to do, so I don't take it lightly. But one of the things that I have learned over the years is that women, we pray all the time. That's just something that we do. We pray all the time. We pray for better communication. We pray for peace. We pray for understanding. We pray for healing. And if you know anything about me, you know I believe in prayer. You know that about me. But sometimes that's where we stop. That is literally where we stop. We just let prayer say, okay, I'm just going to pray about it. But sometimes after we pray, God does send wisdom. That is the nature of his deity. That is the nature of his existence. God sends wisdom. Sometimes he sends strategy, sometimes he sends support, and sometimes he sends accountability. And in my case, he did all four of them. But the thing about us is that we got to be willing to move when God provides the opportunity. And that's something that I had to learn. And I learned that by having really incredible mentors in my life. Because, I mean, we're praying and we're praying. I remember when I was praying one time and I was all prayed out. I was all prayed out. I didn't know what else to pray. I was sitting in my bed and I had prayed every prayer I knew. I had read every scripture that I knew. And I was like, God, I don't even know what to do now. And at that moment, my phone rang. And it was someone I had met maybe a month before, and we exchanged phone numbers, and she had the answer to the problem that I had. And as a result of that, she became my mentor and started pouring into my life like you wouldn't believe. And she's still very much a part of my life. And as a result of that, I'm the woman that I am today. She's not the only one. God had blessed me with some really solid people in my life to pour into me, and that is why I am who I am today. But here's the thing I want to say. When we've done all the praying and read all the scriptures and done all the things, the yelling, the screaming, the hollering, the crying, the crawling, all of that, we got to be willing to move when God provides an opportunity. This is what I want to share with you today about me. And if you're following me, you already know the caliber of teaching and training and mentorship that's provided. I don't really have to go into that because you already know. Many of you have been part of the 5-day challenges, and you come and you eat and you learn and you try to take in everything. But to be honest with you, that 5-day challenge only scratches the surface. You won't see the real transformation until you go deeper into that. The deepest transformation that happens for many wives is when they work with me one-on-one. That is the deepest transformation. That's where they start seeing real results. And that won't happen in that 5-day challenge. And here's the reason. Real transformation takes time. It's not snap your fingers, boom, we're going to be there. It takes time, and you have to show up and do the work. It won't happen just because you spend 5 days, you take a few notes. That's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. And that's just the beginning of what God has given me to help you begin the journey of transformation. But that is literally just the beginning. But when you work with me one-on-one, and even still with working with me one-on-one for those 8, you meet with me 8 times, hour or so, maybe even an hour and a half, and we start working through that, that is still just a springboard. That's where it begins. And usually those that start with me there, they continue on and they still work with me today. In these sessions that I provide, we pray together, we work through challenges, we develop strategy, we shift our mind shifts. We start talking about how to strengthen communication, and it begins to create real momentum. It creates real momentum. And this is where most of the women that I work with, where they start to see the real transformation or the real breakthrough in their life, in their marriage, and who they are. So it's not just about getting support for your marriage. It's me working with you. Because if we don't change what's going on inside of you, you're not going to see the transformation that you want to see in your marriage. And so that's where women experience the greatest breakthrough. Then there's something that we have called the Wife Intensive. This is the perfect opportunity for those that are not quite ready for longer, more intense, more personal, more transparent opportunity. This is for that person who just needs a little bit of wisdom and direction around a specific challenge, right? There's a specific thing that's happening in your marriage and you just want help with that specific thing. That's what the Wife Intensive is for. That's for that person. And within that, we start working through that one specific item. I'll give you some strategies, some wisdom, and I'll also give you a workbook that you can now work through with that specific thing that we've discussed in our intensive. And then there is something that I feel like is going to be really beneficial and really helpful to you, and that is my summer sessions. And this is new for the summer. And what this is you'll really kind of get some ongoing support throughout the summer. We'll focus on vision, growth, and intentionality month by month. So that's for the month of June, July, and August. You'll meet with me once a month. We'll talk about whatever those things are that's personal to you, to your marriage, to your leadership, to whatever's going on with you that you want support for. And this is private. This is me and you. And here's the thing. We could spend all day, we're praying, we're reading a word, we're doing all of those things. I've been saved over 30 years, so I get that. I understand that. I walked with God for a long time, and I've been a leader for a long time. I've led a church, actually more than one church, to be honest. I've served on ministerial boards. I've worked with women both nationally and internationally. I understand the concept of praying, but I also understand that there is a more excellent way. And that more excellent way is to take the leap of faith. A lot of times we stay in our closet and we're begging and pleading with God to do something, and he puts it right in our face, and it's up to us to take advantage of that. It's up to us to take advantage of that. And I'm a living witness that when you take advantage of what God has placed before you, that's when you start seeing the thing that you've been praying for. The Bible tells us that faith without works is dead. So, and we show him our faith by our works. That's literally the scripture. So a lot of times we can believe God for things, but we also got to show up and do the work. Even when we talk about building things, the Bible even tells us to count up the cost to make sure that we have what we need to build something and to see something through to the end. So I just really want to encourage you. I really want to encourage you. If you've been waiting for a sign, if you've been in your prayer closet, you've been praying, you've been crying, you've been fasting, and you've been doing all of those things, this is your sign. This is your answer. This is your sign to let you know that this is what you've been praying for. Don't spend another night, another day, another season wishing that something was different without taking a step forward to make it different. Your marriage is worth investing in. You are worth investing in, and your growth is worth investing in. A lot of times we think about it. I know I have a desire to compete in a bodybuilding competition, but I also know that it takes work to do that. I got to show up. I got to lift weights. I got to eat right. I got to listen to my trainer. I got to do all of those things, and I have to invest in that. And that's not coming just by me praying, hoping, and wishing. I got to do the work, and it's challenging, but I'm challenging myself, and so I want to challenge you to do the same thing. So listen. I would love the opportunity to work with you. I would love the opportunity to help you. I would love the opportunity to pray for you. I would love the opportunity to work with you one-on-one to meet the desire and the goal that you have for yourself and for your marriage. And if this is resonating with you, don't keep hesitating. You know this is the clarion call. So what I want to do is I'm going to drop the links in after you watch this video, go back and read the message. The links that you need to get started will be there. You need to click on those links. Go ahead and get started, get set up. Don't wait another day. Don't hesitate another day. And to be honest, guys, the spots are already starting to fill, and I haven't even really been putting it out there. It's just so happened that I've gotten calls over the weekend. One beautiful wife had said, listen, I've heard about you. Look, I need help. And so we're getting her situated. And then there's a couple that my husband and I are going to be working with over the next several months, if you will. And so not only am I working with wives individually, my husband and I work with couples. So guys, listen, you want to take advantage of these opportunities. I know for sure that this may not come around again. And so there's only so many sessions for the one-on-one. That's where you see the most transformation. There are so many slots for the wife intensive. And then there's so many slots for the summer session. Make sure you read those. Make sure you pay attention. And just make sure you are ready. It's time now. Don't go into another year like you've been. Don't try to wait for the challenge to try to get your questions answered. Do it now. Execute now. All right, beloved, I can't wait to see you in the room. I can't wait to see you one-on-one, you and me. And if you just happen to be local, let's meet up and let's see each other face to face. All right, I love you. I'm going to play a quick prayer for you, and then we're going to chime out. Father, we thank you for being so good. Lord, I pray for every woman under the sound of my voice. God, I pray that whatever her need is, God, you meet her there. If she's worried about finances, God, I know you to be Jehovah Jireh. Lord, you know how to do it. You know what to do. And so, Father, I pray right now that this little bit that she invests in herself will be like a drop in the bucket. Father, make everything work together that needs to work together. God, we praise you, we honor you, we love you. In Jesus' master's name we pray. Amen. All right, beloved, listen, it's time. It's time for you to have the marriage you desire. It's time for you to experience the growth you've been praying for. And it's time for you to show up for you. All right, I love you. God bless you. See you soon.
Hey, it's your girl Deshana, CEO and founder of A Passport to Breathe. And before we jump into the world of artificial intelligence, let's take a moment to appreciate how far we've come. Remember the days of rotary phones and VHS tapes? Or what about the unmistakable sound of the internet dialing up as we eagerly awaited to hear, "You've got mail," on our AOL account? These relics from the retro edition of our lives were the cutting edge tech of their times. Each one a stepping stone that brought us to today. Just like we transitioned from floppy disks to cloud storage, from Walkmans to streaming music, we're now moving from the simplicity of these tools to be the complexity and possibility of AI. Each innovation we've experienced has laid the groundwork for the next. They taught us to adapt, to learn, and to embrace the new. And that's exactly what AI does. Artificial intelligence is not a sudden emergence. It's a product of our consistent desire to push boundaries and make life a little easier, a little more connected. So as we reminisce about the good old days, let's also get excited about what's to come. The same way we marveled at the ability to rewind a tape, today we marvel at AI algorithms that can predict, automate, and personalize our experiences in ways we never imagined. Picture this. At the young age of 45, when society starts hinting that you should be planning your retirement party rather than your next big academic move, well, I decided to flip the script. I went on what many would call an impossible quest. I earned my master's degree in a mere 12 weeks. Yes, 12 weeks. And as strange as it may sound, my success was because of AI, my not-so-secret sauce. Now, before you start thinking, oh, I hired a robot to do my homework, let me clarify. AI helped me transform the battlefield of adult education. By using AI, I crafted workflows that turned mountains of coursework into manageable molehills. Research that would typically take weeks was condensed into days thanks to smart algorithms that sifted through academic papers, pinpointing exactly what I needed. AI became my study buddy, tailoring my learning process with precision. It was like having a personal tutor who knew exactly when I needed a break and when to buckle down because my brain was in the zone, honey. With my years of project management experience, it was a breeze to identify and train AI tools that kept me on track for my deadlines, ensuring I never missed a beat. If I could sprint through a marathon like earning a master's in 12 weeks, just imagine what else we can do. Choosing the right tool can be daunting. I mean, it's a world exploding with AI solutions. But I want you to fear not, because you can survive this jungle by choosing one task at a time to transform with AI. Imagine having a suite of AI tools at your fingertips, each designed to streamline a specific part of your day. It's about making AI work for you and customizing it to fit your workflow. But how does this relate to you, especially the leaders among us? AI isn't just a personal tutor, it's a powerhouse for enhancing leadership productivity. Imagine an AI that sifts through your emails, prioritizing them so you can focus on what truly matters. Or a digital assistant that manages your calendar, reminders, and even automates data entry and processing. Imagine automated report generation, task assignments, based on your team's expertise and performance monitoring that keeps you updated on your KPIs without even breaking a sweat. Consider the transformative impact of AI in HR. from streamlining the onboarding process to automating training schedules. Think about the efficiency of managing your social media presence, your customer service, and even inventory without getting bogged down in the minute details. AI-driven automation is not just about offloading work, it's about elevating your leadership to focus on strategic thinking and decision-making. As we integrate AI into our daily routines, from scheduling to customer engagement, we're not just optimizing our workflows, we're unlocking a realm of possibilities. It's about choosing the right AI tools one task at a time and customizing them to our unique workflow. Tonight, I will demonstrate a live ChatGPT use case, making the complex simple, showcasing how AI can bridge to your next big leap, whether it's bidding for a contract or pursuing lifelong learning. Check it out. Listen, in wrapping up, remember AI is a journey intertwined with discovery, innovation, and the untapped potential of the human spirit. My story is a testament to what's achievable when we embrace AI, not just as a tool, but as a partner in our quest for growth, efficiency, and new horizons in leadership, personal development, and beyond. AI is the key to opening accelerated paths to education, to enhancing our professional lives, and to forging new trails into leadership and lifelong learning. The human spirit combined with AI is indeed unstoppable. So let's get on this journey together. Leverage AI to redefine the possible and transform the landscape of leadership and learning. My name is Dijon Jeffries, and you can follow me on Instagram at @passport2breathe.
What up, Jen checking in. What's going on, BSN? My name is Janice Auburn, but I go by Jenlo. I am the CEO of Second Chance 21013. I'm so excited to be part of this Leadership and Equity Summit. Okay, so leadership, I could talk to that. And one thing I want to put out there is what my father said is, let God lead you. I believe truly, if you allow him to lead you, you really can't go wrong. Yes, we're going to make some mistakes. We're going to have some issues. We're going to have some trials and tribulations and everything. But guess what? It's a whole lot better when you got a guide than to have to go completely by yourself, right? There's alone on this earth, right? But you have your spirit guide, right? You have God. So enter me, enter peace, out with love. Right, so the foundation, okay, setting the foundations, we got to lean into that thing, right, with a little scripture here. Matthew 7:7-8, okay? Ask and it shall be given. Seek and it shall be found. Knock and it shall be open, okay? Knowing who you are and whose you are is so important in any kind of leadership. Before you can lead anybody, you have to lead yourself, but you have to know where you're leading yourself, right? And the only way to find that out is by asking God for guidance, right? Seeking guidance. And you know what? That can be through a person. You know, we need people. That's the reason why there's over 8 billion people on the planet, right? Mentorship, you know, a coach, a sponsor, you know, network marketing. And so I'm a coach for a few people, you know, that come to me and say, hey, how do you do this or how do you do that? And I want to make sure that I lead with the right spirit, right? Because it's kind of like a doctor. You know how doctors have doctor language, doctor terms? Well, just because I know and been doing what I do for years, I still have to speak in a tone where I know this person is learning, right? So guidance, knocking it shall be answered, okay? Well, open to you, okay? So oftentimes we pray, but when God sends us the answer to what we're looking for, right? Especially in our business. Come on, business owners. You pray like, Lord, we got to have a better year than last year. Okay, even a better month. We got to come out the red. Or my team, it's not looking right. It's not getting together. I can't get them to do right. Can you get you to do right? That's the question. Now, seeking the answer means personal development, spending time with God, and actually self-reflection, finding out who you are, means finding out your purpose, find out where God's trying to lead you, and actually taking the steps in action to go where he's leading you, so that when you go, I always say my team is not mine. I say my tribe, but I say they're not my people, they're God's people that he has entrusted, okay, for me to be able to lead, but I have to make sure I'm going to the right place. I'm leading to somewhere of progress and success. My coaching, I'm health and wellness. I have to make sure I do the right things. They see me being consistent first, right? And I'm leading by example. And that's in anything, no matter what if you're a school teacher, parents, leadership is not dictatorship of just telling, okay? It's doing and setting expectation. I'm a very visual person, and so I need to see. I need to see you, right? So knowing who you are, that's a definite guide of who you are. I'll say I'm a child of God, and at the end of the day, just like my dad said, let God lead me through the heart. So that's working with the enemy, so that I do not become my own enemy. And say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Because a lot of times we could be our own enemy, right? So that's the reason why we have to work on the enemy, so that we can enter peace. The great thing about being a business owner, or when we say we get promoted, maybe if you're on a job, we say money's going to give me more peace. So that's where personal development steps in, and knowing who you are, right? Because money is not, it'll help you be more happy. Yeah. But you have to be in here first. If something's not happening in your business, as I've gotten older, I have learned, you know what? I'm not going to let nothing take my peace. I know this is happening. That's cool. I got it. The things didn't happen in this month that I wanted in my business or with my team or for my job. Things didn't happen there. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have my peace first, because what you focus on expands. And if you focus on all the things that didn't happen in your business, that's going to continue to grow and fester. And then that scene is felt in your team, your associates, your business partners, your co-workers, right? So lead by example. Like, I ain't never seen you had a bad day. It's not that you didn't have a bad day. It's that you didn't wear it on your sleeve, right? And so that teaches and shows by example, you know what? You got a lot going on, but your character and your attitude is still great, right? So that's to be rich. Being rich is more than finances. It's also being the best version of yourself. You should be better today than you were yesterday, than you were last month, last year, last decade. You should always be working on expanding this here, okay? Should always be expanding your mind, which helps you with your spirit. Like I said, I'm a health and wellness coach, and I've been working on them both, okay? And I could tell you, because I have gotten stronger in my body, I have gotten stronger in my mind. Because I've gotten stronger in my mind, I have gotten stronger in my body. The two are intertwined like this, okay? The two go hand in hand. When you become more powerful here and you grow more confident, and then when you look good, you feel good, right? So the two go hand in hand, and you want more of them both. And guess what? When you expand your mind, you enhance your body through just naturally saying like maybe 15 minutes a day on health, going to get some cardio or 30 minutes, however it may be, you develop confidence, you develop your character, you start being consistent, okay, you're committed, okay, and then you draw the people around you. They're like, I need to do that too. Man, I need to get up today. You know what? I wasn't going to get up and go to the gym today, but guess what? I got up because I saw you. And I'm going to do that thing. Matter of fact, I'm going to try something, new. I see that work for you, but, maybe that's a little hard for me, but I want to be consistent in what I'm doing in my growth. I've seen you read this book, I'm going to try this book. I've seen you tap into that coach or mentor, I'm going to tap into that. So that's also leadership, okay? Being the best version of you. You're the better version today of yourself than you were yesterday. And guess what? Prayerfully, you're going to be an even better version tomorrow. Right? Okay, you should not stay the same from day to day if you're working on personal development. Okay, that's part of leadership. Every leader needs a feeder. Tap into someone, okay, that could say, hey, this is the way we can do this, a little bit better, or I see this right here. Let's see what we can do to partnership, right? Leadership is not dictatorship. We're in partnerships with each other. Okay, no matter what the level is, there's still a partnership level of communication, right? So daily route to success. What are your daily habits? Journaling, meditation, spending time with God, reading a couple of scriptures. I this month I have taken time to be part of an amazing challenge that has definitely helped me, and I have been able to go through a process, right, to help. I say, God, help me so that when I'm working with your people, I'm better, right? And so I've been going through that, and that's just a commitment, right? Every single morning we get right with God first, okay? All right, so setting the intentions the night before, okay? And giving permission. I think what's so important, okay, is to give God permission to be an active part of your life to guide you, right? Give him permission. A lot of times we pray, but we take the reins into our own hands. And I can tell you, 2-10-13, that was me. I prayed about it, but I was in a rush and I was in a hurry. And you know how to say, Jesus, take the wheel? Well, I had the wheel. He was in the car riding and he saved me, but I chose to go out there ahead of time. Now it paid off, God takes every situation and he used it for your good. But had I just listened a little bit closer, I would have took my time. So again, peace, out of everything, just make sure you do it with love. Love. Okay? So work on the inner me so that you enter a peaceful state. And everything you do and produce comes out of love. So I'm Jen Low. Okay? Again, you can find me on Instagram at Jen Low Assassin. Second Chance 21013. Okay? Thank you so much for your time.
I grew up in Flint, Michigan during the 60s, and as a child, I can remember the civil rights movement. I remember our family huddling around our small black and white TV, and we'd watch all of the things that were going on in Alabama and Mississippi. Some of my older cousins were active in the movement, and each week we would have a large Sunday dinner with the extended family, and they would come back and tell us about all of the things that they had seen and done. As a child of about 8 or 9 years old, I always wanted to grow up and be a part of the movement, but by the time I became of age, it was all over. All of the marching was done. I always felt left out, that I didn't get a chance to participate in the civil rights movement. But little did I know that God had another plan for me as a computer instructor and database developer. But even then, it bothered me that I didn't see many people of color in my classes. That is when journalist Dr. John Ray introduced me to Dr. Joel Dudley Sr. and Dr. Eunice Dudley of Dudley Products, who had been mentored by the millionaire S.B. Fuller. Through Dr. Dudley, I was introduced to Dr. Lafayette Jones, past Vice President of Marketing for John H. Johnson of Johnson Publishing, and his wife, Sandra Miller Jones, who was a Vice President at Quaker Oats, and together they created SMSI, a national marketing firm. Dr. George C. Fraser of FraserNet and the Power Networking Conference, Dr. Jackie Mayfield of ComproTax, founder of the largest Black-owned income tax service, and even billionaire Michael B. Roberts. They all believe that the way to close the wealth gap is through entrepreneurship, because we as a people had to overcome slavery, and secondly, obtain our civil rights to be able to eat in any restaurant or stay at any hotel that we wanted. But the third piece is economic equality. And now I am also convinced that we must become entrepreneurs, and to do so we must embrace technology and a strategy of global networking. That is why I created Every.Black, to use my vast experience as a computer instructor to teach entrepreneurs how to use technology and artificial intelligence in business. Every-Black members are listed in our promoted in our digital newsletter, on social media, and on our podcast. And we conduct read positive books, learn from experts, networking with like-minded individuals from around the world, educating them about every aspect of becoming a successful entrepreneur. That is what Every.Black is all about. Just go to www.every.black to take the AI and tech classes you need, to register for our mastermind meetings, and to join the Every.Black family. Visit us at www.every.black and sign up today. Just go to every.black, every.black. No .com, no .net. Just every.black. .black is the new .com.
To tell you the story or celebrate the lives of S.B. Fuller and Dr. Joel Dudley Sr. And there's a method quote at the bottom that says, methods are many, principles are few. Methods may change, but the principles never do. So maybe they don't have the tools that we have today, but those principles of being successful entrepreneurs are the same. So as you watch this presentation, see, I was going to ask each of you to pick out 3 things and write them down that resonated with you, 3 principles of entrepreneurship that still could be practiced today to become, to help you become a successful entrepreneur. First, I want to tell you about S.B. Fuller. He was born June 4th, 1905 in Louisiana and passed away October 24th, 1988. And from Louisiana, he moved on to St. Louis and he started a business selling women's apparel. But the local sheriff actually came to him and told him that he had to stop selling the dresses because he was taking away business from the local businesses. And his customers were told that they had to return the dresses, to return the clothing, get their money back. And if they did not, then they would have lost their jobs. So he was fed up with what he called masterism and literally started walking to Chicago to escape St. Louis at that time. He was self-educated with only 18 months of formal education. He was a self-taught person. He started with $25 selling soap, creative soap, and he eventually created a company bringing in over $18 million a year. What he did with the soap is he shaved the name off of the soap and put his own label on the soap and started selling the soap door to door. Now, there's some other things that he did as well, but that's how he got started. Ultimately, he employed thousands of people. He mentored thousands of entrepreneurs through weekly mastermind meetings. It didn't matter what type of business you have. And he was a believer in self-reliance. And during the Montgomery bus boycott with Rosa Parks and Dr. Martin Luther King, S.B. Fuller recommended to Dr. King to just buy the bus line, and then it wouldn't be an issue where everyone rode on the bus. But Dr. King decided not to do that. But that was just his mentality, to be at the owner and not at the mercy of someone else. There were 2 books that he based his business on. One was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which he knew. He knew Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill would speak at some of his conferences. And also the Holy Bible. What he did also, he had chemists to actually manufacture his own products, and he brought in chemists from around the world. And again, this Fuller sales kit is listed at the bottom, which people could get for $10 to start selling Fuller products. These are some images of the conferences they had. And if you notice in this image, there's a Cadillac. So he would give away a Cadillac to the top salesperson each year. And these conferences would be held in Chicago at the Palmer Hotel in Chicago. And even though they had this many people attending the conferences, they still could not reserve their rooms through the main lobby. They had to get their rooms assigned off-site so that there wouldn't be that many Black folks in the lobby of the hotel. So the top picture is the products building. They had a department store. They had a Regal theater. He also bought out newspapers, Black newspapers that were maybe going under. He would buy them out and turn them around. And so again, some of the people that he mentioned through weekly mastermind meetings like the ones we're doing right now were John H. Johnson of Jet Deputy Magazine, George Johnson of Afrosheen and Ultrasheen. And a lot of people don't realize he also mentioned Mary Kay Cosmetics. And to give you some information about Dr. Dudley, he was labeled mentally retarded at a very young age. He grew up in poverty in Aurora, Illinois, with 10 siblings. But he made a covenant with God as a young person that if God would deliver him from that poverty and flies, he said they couldn't even have a dinner without somebody had to stand over with everyone else trying to eat and shoo away the flies. He said if God would deliver him from that life, then he would spend the rest of his life helping others. And that's what he did. So he started with $10 buying a Fuller sales kit from S.B. Fuller's company. And he and his wife ultimately created a company bringing in nearly $36 million a year through Dudley products, and had employed over 600 people at one time. But he also trained over 30,000 cosmetologists in the U.S., Brazil, and Zimbabwe, and in Africa. And they also had training schools throughout the U.S., by the way, in Chicago, Washington, D.C., some of the schools are still in operation in the Greensboro area, in Charlotte. And he mentored thousands of entrepreneurs through the mastermind meetings as promised S.B. Fuller. When S.B. Fuller died, Joe Dudley promised that he would continue the weekly meetings, and that's what he did. And he also believed in self-reliance, believing that we can do it ourselves.
I was labeled mentally retarded. They told my mother, Clara, that I would never be anybody. She says all the other 10 kids would make it, but this Joe won't make it. And Mama told me to fool him, Joe. So I've been trying to do that for a while. I wasn't a good student. I had girls on my mind. I went with this girl for 23 months. And she came to me one day and she said, Joe, I want to get married. Oh, I was so excited, I didn't know what to do. I was just excited, I'm telling you. And she says, but it's not you. Now that was a disappointment. So I said, well, who is it? I said, I bet you it's not so-and-so. She said, yes. Oh my God, I got mad because he was having her get her homework. I couldn't even get my own homework. But I wasn't jealous of him because really I thought he was ugly. She said, I want some smart kids. And you are not smart. I made up my mind. I told her, I said, well, you're going to have ugly kids. They may be smart, but they're going to be ugly. So I made up my mind that day that I was going to put something in my head. And nobody could ever take that away from me. That was a turning point in my life. You know, sometimes we think what's the worst that happened to us. But many times what's the worst thing happened to you is the best thing. For that smart boy taking my girlfriend, it changed my life.
For the first time, we are hearing from family since the passing of Dr. Joe L. Dudley Sr.'s family. His name synonymous with entrepreneurship and philanthropy, as he was the co-founder of Dudley Hair Care. Today, his family shares his legacy with you.
The most important piece is where he started, and that's in Brooklyn, New York, with Mr. S.B. Fuller and Fuller Products. And he took $10, bought a sales kit, and his life changed, ever since then. The next big thing, of course, was meeting my mother, and the two of them, forming a partnership and a marriage at the same time, and then moving to Greensboro to start their own distributorship. We had started selling products in beauty salons and barbershops as well. And things really started booming. My father was such a visionary. He and my mother as partners made such a tremendous impact and had so many ideas. I mean, we had the beauty schools, we had the advanced school, we had a travel agency, a radio station, a hotel. If they thought about it, they made it happen. He, really instilled in me and all of us a great work ethic. He taught us the value of work, but he also taught us the value of being kind, to people and meeting them where they are. And he always told us and anybody else, if you're having trouble, if you're excited about something, if you need that extra boost, to say, I am, I can, and I will. There are people all over the world who are in business because of my father and my mother. And that is what excited him the most.